Today's episode of the One Piece podcast is sponsored by Right Stuf. The Right Stuf annual holiday sale is finally here. There are new items added to this sale daily, and you can save up to 95% on DVDs, Blu-rays, books, and merchandise. Quantities on some of these items are limited, so make sure to order early and often. You can visit RightStufAnime.com every day for the new items added to the holiday season, as I'm sure there will be many more. Again, that's RightStufAnime.com. On with the show. This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 447 for the week of Monday, December 5th, 2016. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
On today's show, we have a very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul with us. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Not much. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Okay. We also have Eisner Award-nominated author for Merman, which is the final volume. Is that out or out soon? It's Joey Weiser.
It's coming out in spring of 2017.
Spring of 2017. Okay. I knew it was on its way. I just wasn't sure if I had missed the date already. But congratulations on that. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting.
And last but not least, we have YouTube sensation Roger Space is on with us. Hey, Roger.
What's going on, everybody?
Oddly good impression of that.
Unnecessary.
It's going well. How's it going with you?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. Making YouTube videos about One Piece, talking One Piece news. There's been some Nintendo leaks recently, so everything's going pretty good. Also, I'm obsessed with Final Fantasy 15. That game is way better than I expected it to be, so yeah.
Wow. That's wow. I don't know. I lost my mind with that cup noodle quest the other day. I almost had to leave work. It was simultaneously the best thing I've ever seen and the worst thing I've ever seen. So
on that note, on today's podcast, we have a manga recap for chapter 848, an anime recap of episode 767. We have news. We have Piece Together. There's a lot of news. You should probably listen to that segment if you have not caught up. You could also go to OnePiecePodcast.com if you want to figure out what's happening. And before we get started, I want to mention this is the week of our Patreon exclusive episode that should be out later this week. We also, so please check us out on patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Subscribe there. And we also have a store. You can check that out. OnePiecePodcast.com. Go to the top of the website and hit the store link. And of course, we're again sponsored by Right Stuf. So check out their holiday sale all holiday long. They have new sales every week from Viz Media. So check that out as well. But I think that's everything. We have a lot of news to go through. Why don't we get into that? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that a rhetorical question, Zach? Or are you actually asking us if we're ready?
Yes, I'm not ready to go until you're ready.
Oh, wow. Well, that's so nice.
This is the news segment, and we, as I promised last week, it's the end of the year, so we have a ton of stuff to go through that has happened in the last week. Let's go reverse chronologically, and the first big piece of news is that the One Piece editor, whose name I'm going to mispronounce because I mispronounce everyone's name, and that's Suguru Sugita.
Sugita.
That was relatively close, right?
Zach, actually.
You had all the syllables in there.
Did you say it was actually close?
It was actually very close, yes.
Yeah.
Wow, the puns you guys have made with my names have been insulting and also inspiring. So the editor mentioned during an interview with the Shonen Jump, what is it, School of Jump, which is, I guess, a video kind of streaming podcast kind of thing that Shueisha does, I guess. Well, they talked about how the Whole Cake Island arc is apparently halfway through and that the Wano arc is going to be coming next year, apparently, in 2017. Ed, you seem to have very high opinions of the editor.
Even when Oda says this, it's not true. Like, come on.
You don't think the editor
I'd
could
be
crack
happy
the whip?
if it was. I think it's a good sign if it ends up being true, but I mean, come on. Really?
Well, does anyone disagree and think we could take this guy's word seriously here?
Honestly, this, like I've been saying, like practically every episode for the last, like, I don't know, a little while. I know, very precise. This has been an incredibly paced arc, and if it continues, then I could definitely see it going for that little of a span.
So it started at 8:23. That means, and where are we? 8:48. Did anyone do the math on this as to when, if it were exactly 50%?
The forums have like, okay, now we have 22 chapters exactly left.
That's right.
It's just like Luffy's recovery from Gear 4. You got to count down. Starts exactly now.
That's not how that works.
I think it is weird though. If this ends up being true, like, it is weird that the Big Mom arc, the Big Mom centric arc, would be half the length of the Doflamingo arc.
Yeah,
like, I was thinking that we would get a Yonko arc, I thought, like, or an Emperor arc. Excuse me, I'm using terrible language, but like, I assumed that these arcs would be massive, like, and that they would be really, really long. And I think Otis kind of recognized that Dressrosa went on for a little too long, and he wants to make the story and the action like move a little bit quicker. So.
Yeah, I kind of get the impression Wano may be another massive one, but that he's kind of trying to move things along to get to that point and maybe give us a little bit of a breather before then.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot during this arc about, like, okay, who is the actual, like, main antagonist? Is there going to be a main antagonist in this arc? And I think Oda has kind of done a really good job of kind of bouncing back between the two, because, like, at first we thought, oh, well, maybe it'll be Judge. Maybe Big Mom will be actually like a friendly or at least a neutral figure. But then, like, the last few chapters, it seemed to swing a lot. It's like he's reminding us that she's a big threat too, and is likely to not take any of this kindly. So it's kind of hard to say, like, where exactly he is taking this. And, that's one of the fun parts of this arc so far, I think.
Well,
I stick by. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Roger.
I was just going to say, I kind of stick by the idea that the wedding is going to be where everything comes to a head, and it's going to be like all of these massive action sequences that normally we would climax an arc with. All of these little sequences with all of these potential villainous characters would all just sort of come to a head there, and then throughout the commotion, I kind of feel like that's when the Straw Hats are going to escape, and that might be why the arc itself is a little bit shorter. It's that the conflict we kind of leave midway through, because they're going to use it sort of as a diversion to get out of there with Sanji.
You see,
just
for me,
have Big Mom and Judge fight it out or something. Like, just leave them brawling while they slip away
through the mirror world or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, the way I interpret it, at least. Sorry, Joey. The way I interpret it, at least, is just that we're 50% through the story and not necessarily 50% through the chapters. Because I am saying this because I think that's kind of what Oda and the editors have used in the past. I think, for example, we might have been halfway through the Dressrosa story well before the halfway point in chapters. I'd say around when the birdcage fell is probably halfway through, like, the story. But I don't have, off the top of my head, I don't know what chapter number that was.
Doflamingo when the birdcage fell. Yes.
Is that a Star Trek reference? But
actually, wasn't the birdcage like being created about halfway through the story? Because wasn't that after? No. I guess that was before the Corazon flashback.
Here, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look right now when the birdcage fell, because I have it open
the thing for me is, like, when I hear this, I'm like, okay, well, I don't trust what the English translation people use. Like I want to see what the actual words were in Japanese, because he could have been saying like, oh, we're in the middle of this arc. He could have said like, okay, we're about halfway through. He could have been like, we are 50% of the way through. There's different like different degrees of specificity to that statement, and of course everyone is going to interpret it whichever way they want. Here in this, in the Anglosphere, removed from the actual context of that interview. But yeah, I don't know. I was a little like taken. I was like, what the why is he saying that? Like, why would you say that? I mean, I know we're kind of in the middle of the arc, like, you can recognize it from the way that the story is developing, but like, I just don't understand why you would say like, oh yeah, no, we're going to get to this before before X month or something like that. Like, it just seems like it's a major, it like certifies certain things like, okay, well, this is definitely going to be done in the next few chapters. So it probably isn't going to, take this weird right turn at some point. Stuff like that. It just kind of removes some of the fun of following along, I think.
Well, I do want to mention, though, that for the birdcage, when the birdcage fell, was actually chapter 745, and that's pretty damn close to the middle of a 100-chapter arc from 700 to 801. So that was, I don't know, I'm kind of taken aback by that, and how close the story and the chapters actually laid out. Maybe Oda was more organized, but he just did a bad job with that. I don't know.
I kind of feel like, too, with this, like, one of the things that people were talking about from this live stream interview was that the editor mentioned that like the story of Whole Cake from here on out is going to be like faster paced, and like one of the translations said rushed, and I don't think he means like that the story is going to be rushed and that like they're trying to get through this arc really quick. I just think he means like everything is going to be happening at the wedding, and so everything's going to be moving really fast from here on out.
Yeah,
and even like this last chapter was filled with all these other like revelations with Pudding, and then how the stuff with Big Mom and how she wants to open the box, and we're meeting all these characters. And on top of all of that, like, we all know Oda's wanted to do Wano for years. And I think he could kind of like, he could sense that like it's almost time for Wano Country. And I think he's kind of like ready to start Wano Country. Yeah. And so if it means cutting away from Whole Cake for a bit, like, I think he's just ready. I think he's like, you know what, we'll leave halfway through. We can maybe come back to the Big Mom stuff later, but I really want to get to Wano Country.
Yeah. I don't know how much like actual discussion of future story points they do, because I've gotten the impression that like Oda keeps a lot of stuff to himself, and he just sort of like talks to the editor about, okay, what's in this chapter, or I got an idea for this or that, but I don't know how like in depth they go over what's going to happen in the future plot. But I feel like he also, maybe just because this chapter, like last chapter, the chapters that we're going to see, at least next week's chapter, things are happening very quickly, so that may be what he's kind of his mental space is right now, is that events are happening quickly. We're not really getting bogged down in stuff at the moment. Who knows if that's going to hold up, if that's going to be true for the rest of the arc. But right now we're definitely in a very fast paced part of the arc, and that's exciting.
Good tease there, Steven. Make sure to listen and read next week. So that's the first piece of news. The second piece is that Funimation's released a lot of information about One Piece Film Gold, including the cast. There's been a trailer that's been released, and we have done a lot of personal digging here at the One Piece Podcast to find what theaters and what cities they are in, and we put together a preliminary list of where they are, where it's showing, when they're showing around the United States. Right now, no Canadian theaters have been shown. We don't know anywhere else across the world. I guess the UK has Fandango. I just don't know when when it's supposed to be showing there or not. So if there's, I think
over there it's pronounced Fandango.
Thank you for your expert analysis, Alex. So you could check on the website to see. We've been updating daily, sometimes several times a day. We took the weekend off, but what I and the crew on the news staff have been doing is literally searching city by city by city. So if you don't see your city there, but you see it on Fandango, please let us know. You should still go out there and search it. this is just a preliminary list, so you can kind of see, oh, this is where it's happening. And we also have a lot of meetups planned. I'll go through some of the ones we have so far. The first is in New York. If you want to meet me, I'll be at the Kips Bay Theater, which is on 2nd Avenue in Midtown. That's on Tuesday, January 10th at 7:30. We also have, it's a very long list that I have to scroll through. Kelly will be at the Carmike Ritz Center in outside of Philadelphia. That's on Saturday, January 14th at 2 p.m. I know, Alex, you and Steve are going to do one in Annapolis probably, but that hasn't been set.
Yeah. As of right now, the current plan is to have it at the Bowtie Cinemas at the Annapolis Mall, Tuesday, 7:30. But if something pops up closer to maybe Rockville, Maryland, that might be it's definitely easier for me and Steve to get to. But
we'll find out.
But it'll probably
Well, there's one showing in Columbia, Maryland, which might be closer to you, but not much.
It's definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people can see the mall you hung out at as a teenager.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right.
Joey and Jose will be at the Carmike Crossroads 16 in Atlanta, or outside of Atlanta, Georgia, on Saturday, January 14th at 2 p.m. Go, Joey.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, thank you for showing up for that one. Let's see. I don't think we have anyone in the Deep South as far as I know, but in Chicago, Illinois, Roger and Ed, you'll be there. The AMC River East 21 on Tuesday, January 10th at 7:30.
And on Saturday, because I want to probably go see the movie again, I'll be at the Rosemont Movie Co. Theater, where it's showing on that Saturday.
And Roger, are you excited for some Chicago One Piece film?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I was planning on going to one of the LA ones, but then I ended up being in town for the holidays, and then I'm like, you know what? I'll just go to the one in Chicago, and I'm used to River East. I've been there tons of times, so it'll be cool to see like my Chicago fans.
Do you know where in Chicago is that again?
It's right downtown by Navy Pier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right down there.
Oh, so you go on the Ferris wheel after with all the One Piece fans.
There you go.
Not in January.
January in Chicago is very mild. It's not.
It's really high in a not terribly climatically conditioned area.
To be smart, Ed, I've been to Chicago in January, so I do understand that pain.
I in January, which was an even worse decision.
Well, in retrospect, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, our own Sam Leach will be at the AMC Arbor Lake 16 on Tuesday, January 10th at 7:30. And then I think the last one is in LA, and that's at the AMC Universal City Walk 19. And we have a lot of the crew that's going to be there. Steven, I think of the people who are here right now, you're the only one who's representing that group.
Yeah, that's right here. Let's see who else is going to be there. Jill's going to be there. Brian will be there, and was there someone else? Dennis, I think. Ichnob will be there.
Probably others.
Right. I've never been to that theater. It's the one right at Universal Studios in Hollywood, and in Fandango you reserve your seats when you buy. And I will say that when I picked out my seats, I was the first person apparently to have picked up the tickets, since I'm sure we were way ahead of this, ahead of everyone else in terms of discovering that all these showings were happening. But there are not a lot of seats. It's not a full-size auditorium, apparently. So if you are curious about that, you should definitely check as soon as you hear this, if you haven't already, because I cannot guarantee that there will be much capacity left.
And, I'm sure, especially I feel like Jill and Brian would be up for going to another showing on another day at the very least. So we'll see. Maybe we could even do a second meetup in LA. I don't know when Steve gets back either, but.
Yeah, and that is the Tuesday, the January 10th at 7 or 7:30 or something like that. So
look, if Brian and Jill are okay seeing the Kabuki show twice, I'm sure they're also okay seeing the film Gold twice.
Which, by the way, that Kabuki show was amazing, and they all recorded the Kabuki segment while I was talking with fans, and they didn't interrupt me, and I got so mad.
I told them,
I'm like, bro, I want to talk Kabuki. But then we all ended up taking an awesome picture, so it was cool in the end. But
that evens it out.
Like, what the heck?
I said the same thing to Steve.
Picture is worth 1,000 words.
It's still proof that you were there.
Exactly.
I actually said the same thing to Steve. I think I said, dude, why didn't Roger was right there? He's like, no, I didn't want to interrupt him. He was talking. I also want to mention with One Piece Film Gold, there is an Otakon Vegas contest that was announced by Funimation, and this is really, really cool. And I suggest everyone go out there and try out for this contest. I don't know what you call it. Enter this contest, I think is the phrase. This is what you could win. You could win round trip airfare for 2 to Las Vegas, accommodations for 2 nights and 3 days, from the 15th through the 17th of January. At the Planet Hollywood Casino, $250 of quote-unquote gold. I believe that is money. 2 weekend badges for Otakon Vegas, One Piece DVD and swag prize pack, and a private meet and greet with Colleen Clickenbeard, the voice of Luffy, who is awesome if you have not met her before, so that would be really cool. And the second place winner gets a One Piece treasure chest valued at over $500. That's not a bad second place if you ask me. So go, it's all on our website and Funimation site. They've been advertising for that pretty heavily, and that's to celebrate One Piece Film Gold. I'm sure you'll also get a chance to see that movie, since that's kind of the basis of that promotion. And the last bit of news is that One Piece is number 1 again, guys. Is this a surprise? Is this anyone surprised about this?
No.
Yawn.
No.
So for at least, I think the 8th or 9th year in a row, who knows at this point, One Piece is number 1 in the best-selling manga series, 12,314,326 copies for the year 2016. Its closest competition was around half of that, a little less than half, a little more than half, with Assassination Classroom. Attack on Titan dropped pretty significantly, which I made sure to note on the website. One Punch Man.
It's not on TV anymore.
Yeah, I think next year is going to be huge for Attack on Titan because, like,
I agree.
the storyline right now is really good in the manga, and the second season's coming out.
The staying power to come back. I don't know if it does.
I think it is. That's my prediction right now. Is I think it's going to make top 3 next year. I think Kingdom's going to bump up to 2 from 3, and with Assassination Classroom gone, I think top 3 will be One Piece Kingdom, and
that's a really what do you call it, like, conservative bet on that, because you just moved everything up in the one series that ended. You're like, okay,
that's right. But see, I sound really intelligent when I say it, how I said it.
I do also
actually. One Piece would have won by even more if it wasn't for all those millions of illegally purchased copies that were in second place.
Oh, Nikes.
I also want to mention that My Hero Academia and One Punch Man made its debut on the list. My Hero Academia was number 7 and One Punch Man is number 9. They are fellow Shonen Jump comics that I think we're all fans of, or at least most of us here. So that was cool.
I love My Hero Academia.
And all 4 One Piece volumes, 80 through 83, were number 1 through 4. That shouldn't be a huge surprise as well. There was a drop from 2015 from 14 million to 12 million this year. Again, as Steven mentioned, he found the cause. So it's still very good though. And last but not least, I want to mention Jason has an editorial on the site. It's been getting rave reviews. I was a big fan of it. The Luffy's, they are a-changin'. You can check that out on the website. It talks about the big changing moments of One Piece characters emotionally, and how it kind of shocks the shonen system, and how One Piece kind of progresses. I think it's a really cool article if you haven't checked that out. But that's it for news. Why don't we go into our manga recap? Are you guys ready?
Sure. Hearing you read all those sales numbers takes me back to the Fat Crouch days.
Oh yeah, big boy.
Today's episode of the One Piece Podcast is sponsored by Right Stuf. The Right Stuf annual holiday sale is here, and there are new items added to the sale daily. You could save up to 95% off on DVDs, Blu-rays, books, and merchandise, but quantities on some items are limited, so make sure to order early and often. Now, we've been talking about the Viz sales This week, shoujo manga is offered for a limited time on Viz. I also want to mention, though, that there are over 2,080 items on sale, and at least 150 being listed every day. And so, some really awesome stuff there. Is there anything you guys are going to be buying at the Right Stuf holiday anime sale? You guys know about?
Well, as I've been saying, I finally caught up to the current episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, just in time for the finale.
Oh, congratulations.
So as I said last week, I'm gonna try and go back and start reading the manga from the beginning. So that's definitely what I'm gonna be looking to buy, and also all the back, copies of One Piece that I haven't purchased. All the DVDs, the last 2 or 3 volumes I haven't purchased yet.
I ordered.
Oh, go ahead.
I ordered the Sailor Moon Crystal box set for my girlfriend, and she listens to the podcast, but she is not going to hear this in time because she is 6 months behind.
You better hope this is not the week she decides to catch up.
I was just going to say a kind of cool thing that they do is rotate sales through different companies and stuff. I picked up a few things like the Dororo set when they were doing a discotheque sale and got it for cheaper than I would have been able to get it on Amazon or elsewhere. It's cool.
If y'all like martial arts, the Ip Man trilogy is on sale for $17.49, which is a steal. It's a pretty sweet movie series.
And what's also cool about the Right Stuf discounts are that the Black Thursday, Cyber Monday, those kind of deals, they last for 40 days instead of just a week. So you get it for a full 40 days. So check them out, rightstufanime.com. Or you could click the banner at the top of our page.
And you don't have to worry about your products coming damaged. Right Stuf always does the packaging right.
You were obsessed with their packaging.
It's true. I've had several things destroyed by Amazon.
They actually talked about that on the recent ANN cast. They interviewed the dude that runs Right Stuf, and they talked about how they actually had a big get together and meeting where they specially designed a lot of their packaging for shipping things like that.
Well, cool. Check them out again at rightstufanime.com. Back to the show. This is the manga recap for chapter 848. Goodbye. That's it. We're done.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
We're gonna.
You've got mail.
What?
AOL.
Yeah, the AOL. The only thing that the guy said is you got mail and goodbye.
Anyway, everyone over 30 is now tuned in. Why don't we start with the cover page here of Shonen Jump? Ed, what's going on?
Everyone in red suits. Happy 20th anniversary, everybody!
Thanks, Ed.
Oh boy,
thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's a big year, and this is issue number 1 for some reason. I don't know. Can you explain that to us? Why that is?
It's just the it's the weird thing with magazine publication where they always start the year in December or in November, and that's just how it goes. This is number 1 of 2017. So congrats, guys, we made it. Woo! It's 2017.
We did it.
Yeah.
If only 2016 were over right now.
I wish. Jesus,
but all in the background are some of the previous covers of Jump for One Piece.
Yeah, so, that's really neat. Cool.
I can't believe I was 6 years old when One Piece started. That's insane.
Oh my god!
Wow,
I can't believe you were either.
You were so young.
I can't.
Zach, you weren't much older when One Piece started.
I had the wisdom of a 9-year-old.
And
you already had
the eyes of an eagle and the brain of an
anime.
I already did have that. Anyway, this is really nice. I really like this cover a lot, even beyond the background.
Yeah, it looks like they actually put a little bit of effort into it this time. Well, for the digital version, I feel like sometimes between the physical issue and the digital version, some stuff kind of gets lost.
A lot of times they just have to put kind of a color design in the background or something, like little lightning sparks or something.
Right, as opposed to sometimes they have all the characters of Jump usually on
right.
And
I guess 3D effect of the image on top being on top of the English Shonen Jump logo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the bold outline. It's just a cool looking picture.
Me too. It actually like strikes me. Oh, go ahead, Ed.
But it's not around the characters. It's around all of them. Like they're a big block.
Yeah, like a sticker or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It strikes me as a kind of American. It's something I see in American comics a lot more, where there's this sort of big, bold outline that doesn't necessarily define the line of the character, but just sort of the outline of the image.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to describe, but yeah, it's really neat. I like the red suits too. Gives me kind of a Strong World vibe a little bit, only in red.
Well, it's more like Film said that they had the red suits. Anyway, go ahead.
I didn't notice the black outline until you guys mentioned it, and that's totally a Photoshop stroke.
I was kind of thinking that.
That is 100% a Photoshop stroke. That might just be for the digital version.
Boo.
I think it's in the Japanese one too.
Oh, is it?
No, it's the black felt sticker effect. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the color spread, Ed.
Oh, yes, this really beautiful next November and December in the calendar. I think for 2018, probably.
It's a big assumption there.
Yeah. Well, I'm just calling it out now. But there's big red teddy bear and again red coats for the they're representing colonial England. This
I'd like to point out that that the reason this looks so interesting is because it's done on gray paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he drew the original image on colored paper, much like that Zoe color spread, I'm pretty sure, too. That looks really cool. The brown one.
Mm. It was funny because, like, when they put up the digital assets for us to start working on this stuff for the issue, normally I get these files and like it's like a shrunk down version. They have the full assets, but I don't need to download those, and they're huge. So there's like a special, screen sized PDF version, and it's always in blue and white. So it's always black. Instead of black, there's blue, and the text is black, so it's a little easier to read. And so a lot of times when I see these color spreads for the first time, they're just in like this monotone, like blue scale thing. and I was like, oh, it looks okay. It seems pretty flat, kind of simplistic. And then when I actually saw it, like the finished version, I was like, whoa, what the hell? And the funny thing is, it's not even really that different because it's still very monotone. It's just that red color that just completely jumps off the page or the screen or whatever. And it's an incredible contrast.
I would buy that teddy bear.
Yeah, this color spread is gorgeous. I kind of think there's kind of two different kinds of color spreads. There's the sort of like kind where you just have a great image of the Straw Hats hanging out together and having fun, where they're drawn sort of traditionally. And those are really great, and I like them too. But I think this is the sort of more rare version where Oda really like experiments with the art and does something very artistic. And the way that he's not defining all the characters' body parts within their coats is like really cool. And I had this like weird optical illusion when I first saw it, where I saw the blue vertical lines as trees, and I thought the white was the background. And then I was like, oh, and there's these like rocks or something in the distance too. And then I realized that that was the detail on the trees, and it was a real kind of trippy moment for me.
Yeah, something about the I guess it's just the particular choice in colors, but also kind of the general like flatness of the palette made me think of like a Soviet era children's book or something like that. I don't know, something like that.
I don't know.
Very specific aesthetic.
Stoiko the Bear is here to lecture us on the evils of capitalism.
We're here in Siberia.
I feel like it's just a super ethereal kind of like, I don't know, like, it's just completely different than anything I've seen in a color spread. And yet it's, it's still Oda's characters. It's not like the super Japanese, old, what is that, ukiyo painting style. It is, Oda's characters, but just in a very different kind of setting that, kind of makes you think, cool. Yeah.
Can't get over how cute that bear is. Like,
don't get it for your kids though, guys. Smoking bears are not.
Yeah, maybe not the best.
Smokey the bear, maybe, but
he's the antithesis of Smokey.
He is. He's his enemy. He's his mortal enemy.
Only you can light up with the best of us.
And it's just kind of interesting note is that bear crossing his arms is the only instance of the sort of details within the red. And I think that's probably just because Oda liked that pose but couldn't get it to read correctly without those lines.
Yeah.
One other thing I was going to point out too is on Twitter, a lot of people, like whenever these color spreads come out, they try to analyze and like see if there's any hints towards future things in them. And somebody pointed out like that I don't see it at all. If you guys see it, then maybe that there are like letters with the red. So if you look from left to right, it looks like log with Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro, and then on the other half it says pose. And so I don't see it at all. I just am bringing it up because people were talking about it on Twitter. But yeah, people are trying to say it says log pose.
Do they realize that Oda speaks Japanese? Just
no. I mean,
I kind of see log. Luffy kind of look like the outline of Luffy looks like a dick.
That's what I thought.
Like, I'll be honest.
It does kind of look like a dick and balls.
There's the true hidden meaning.
I'm so happy we're just
it's
as
like
mature.
It's like in Lion King. Oh, the sand spills out sex.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Or the thing on the castle, the turret on the castle in the Little Mermaid VHS.
Oh no,
box.
it's a dick. It's not a turret. It's a dick. It's definitely a dick.
Yeah.
So we're officially just as mature as
100%
as Oda. Let's get into the chapter, Ed.
So, the Big Mom Denden Mushi has it's clicked off and some doo, 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 and like the receiver's off the handle there.
Called the dial tone head.
Right. Thanks, Alex.
You're welcome.
But one of the kids is laughing. He's so funny, and the other one's like, "Are you kidding me? Picking a fight with Mama in her own castle?" And Luffy's not gonna give it up. He's like, shut up, let me out of here. Fight me.
Wow, what a great impression.
That's a laugh. I see. Someone's laughing at him. But Nami isn't yelling. She's thinking. And she has multiple ellipses. And she sort of sighs there. Yeah.
And Roger, take it away.
Yeah, so we get to the next page, and we are introduced to a new character who I want to ask you guys' opinion on this. Do you think this guy's a Tontada? Or what's going on here? This little
kid, I think.
I think he's a little kid.
Yeah.
Little kid?
Yeah.
So we
actually have the giant tail.
Right. Yeah, they were good tail.
I forgot about that. The tails. Yeah.
Their little girl a couple of chapters ago who was very violent. So
we see that Big Mom has sort of misbehaving children, and he's one of my kind of favorite categories of Japanese character, the Yankee, delinquent student kid.
And I love it. He's on the back of like this caterpillar motorcycle thing, and he's going, "Yo, brothers, coming through!" And the little motorcycle is going, "Bottle, bottle, 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 bottle." And he goes, "We got an infiltrator in the treasure room coming through." And then his sister, I presume, says, "You mean an infiltrator, Anglais?" He says, "Yeah, that. And don't try to make me brush my teeth." And so he's a little badass.
Don't you have to pronounce his name completely incorrectly, like Anglais? Anglais.
No, but it's the brush my teeth part that gives it away that it's a little kid.
Yeah. No, I kind of like. I wish his name was Grimy or something like that. Because who doesn't brush their teeth?
Grimy, like Frank Grimes. Grimy, as he liked to be called. Now his name Anglais is a playoff, of course, of the dessert Zoop Anglais, which is ladyfingers and mostly ladyfingers.
Well, there's that. There's also, I think there's a creme anglais or something like that. There's like when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is probably, he has done this with a couple other characters like opera. Well, obviously he's not referring to an actual opera. It's an opera cake. So I was like, okay, there's some sort of, French confection or, related word that he is probably making an oblique reference to. But to us, it just sounds like English. So anglais.
Yeah. And then we are thrown back after that into the Queen's Chamber in Totoland, and we see Zeus again for the first time, the weird little like storm cloud. And Zeus says, "Aren't you angry, Mama?" And Mama says, "Ha, what? Over some feisty little shrimp itching for a fight? Don't be foolish, Zeus. Just think about it. By this time tomorrow, I'll have Germa's power and the Tamate box, and I'll be chowing down on the greatest wedding cake you could ever imagine, right? And then you see all these wonderful little Beauty and the Beast inspired food items down to the ground going, right, you're right. They're all singing their own little musical number. And I'm not going to sing this next speech from Mama. I don't think she's singing it, but it just has little music notes, and it says, I can overlook anything with all of that waiting for me tomorrow, referencing, of course, the wedding and all the stuff she just brought up. Me, angry, tomorrow's going to be the best day ever. And then we see her hat begins to ring. Beep, 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 beep. Huh? I'm getting a signal. And the hat homie says, Mama, there's an infiltrator causing trouble near the treasure repository. Am I saying that right? Repository?
Yeah.
Like, man, I was an English major, and I don't even know how to say repository.
An Anglais major?
An Anglais major, right. and all the other little homies are going, wedding cakes. Yeah, they don't really care about the infiltration guy. But Mama is worried, and she says, they better not be after my Tamate box. Who is it? Cut to the next page.
Yeah, and I love that she pulls an Alfred E. Newman at the top there. What me angry?
Yeah, what me worry.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
If that was intentional, Steven.
That was me.
Yeah, I fucking knew it.
Alex.
So here we are in Sanji's guest room where he's pacing back and forth. I'm sure that the carpet in that room is completely worn down. Yeah, he's schlepping and schlopping around. That's very good, very good.
Oh my God, wow, that was well done there, Steven.
Schlepping around like he does. But yeah, he's super on edge and saying, I made a deal. I made a deal with Big Mom. She's gonna let everybody go, and if I get married, I can sleep with Bratier. So it hurts, but at least nobody's gonna die. So I can't be tense anymore. And if I keep looking so tense, it only cause anguish to Pudding, my only source of hope. And you see that he is super stressed and thinking of Pudding with tears in her eyes. And he says that he'd be the lowest man alive if he caused that wonderful girl to worry. So this actually blew me away, that he transforms into love cook mode as if to use it as a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's like he's willing himself into love cook mode, basically.
Yeah.
He's saying, don't let that sweetheart be sad, be the usual Sanji. I'm the cook of love. Oh, put in my sweet little pudding cup. I'ma make you happy. And I love.
Wait, you made that way creepier.
I love the I'ma instead of I'm gonna make you happy.
I'ma make you happy.
Yeah, I was actually kind of curious about this part. If this was going to be met with ire from some of us on here, that we haven't seen the side of Sanji in a while, and I think we were all feeling kind of relieved from it. But to be honest, like, it would have been weird if it had been completely gone from this arc.
I'll put it this way. I'm more angry about the first half of that page than the second half of that page.
What?
I like the
Why?
fact that he's using it as a coping mechanism. I think that's an interesting character, revelation there. I just don't, his whole mental process is just so frustrating to me. We've discussed this before.
We'll revisit that at the end of the chapter.
Yeah,
I have a lot. Yeah, I have a lot to say about that in opposition to it.
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
So he's in full love cook mode again, as if to force it upon himself. And next, we smash cut to Pudding's room, and she's having a conversation with with her. Not wet nurse. What's the word?
Wet nurse.
Like her
handmaiden.
Handmaiden. Yeah. Who looks to be a bear mink. If I can, it's really hard to tell.
Or like just possibly an animated stuffed bear.
Yeah, or maybe an old crone. I don't know. You can't really tell at this point. And so
she looks like the little ancient kid from Howl's Moving Castle, like with the hood on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy.
So from Sister Lola, and the woman replies, yes, the woman had her fever card and used it to overpower the homies in the seducing woods. So Pudding's getting the skinny on what Luffy and Nami have been up to this entire time. And she tells Pudding that she regrets to inform her that Mama has rejected the dress that she chose. So you need to wear the dress that Mama picked out for you. and also put together post-ceremony plans, blah, 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 blah. And this sends putting into a bit of a flashback where Mama says that, if you do as I say, your life will go smoothly. And look at you. You look like a charming little doll. So at this point, Pudding's having just ruminations as to what her life has been up to this point. And she walks out into the garden where it's still raining syrup. It's raining syrup. And remembers when Lola left Whole Cake Island. And Lola says, "Why, kill me? No way. We're mother and daughter. I'm going to go pick out my own husband." And she has a couple little ellipses as she looks out over the balcony.
Steven?
One thing I was going to bring up before we leave that page, though, is in that little flashback where Mama's like, "You look like a little doll," she has a different hairstyle. It looks like Pudding has like a side ponytail, and she's sitting in this like comfy throne-looking thing. And if you remember back in Fishman Island, when you saw the three-eyed girl on the throne, that's exactly how she looked.
Sure.
So once again, sort of clarifying that she's the three-eyed girl.
Yeah, I think we all are on board with that.
Well, we could talk about that.
Okay, we could talk about that
at the end of the chapter.
I do want to say I like the composition of these 2 pages kind of mirroring each other.
Yeah.
Especially at the top. Yeah, I think that's a cool little thing that you don't see that often with Oda. Continue.
Yeah, for sure. And the camera swings us around to the side of Whole Cake Chateau, and we can see the smoke billowing from the side of the structure, and there's shouting in the distance. And now we are going to see the source of all this commotion, where guards are they're converging on the treasure room because someone has possibly stolen something, and we see that it is Pedro, and he's rushing down the halls. And, he basically comes across at the side of this hallway where these guards are heading for the treasure room. And they're saying, this infiltrator that everyone's been talking about has explosives. And they look down and they spot Pedro. And it's just this little panel kind of squashed in here, but he just kind of explodes off the ground. And he rushes up to confront Bro White and his 7 dwarves here with the hi-ho shield and everything, and they're just like they were not expecting such a sudden thing. And we see 3 little he's doing like a Zorro thing, like Zorro the Masked Swordsman thing with the 3 slices, except in this case it looks more like an S, I suppose. But Pedro just makes quick work of them. We go over to the next side of the page, and that big shield is just cut into pieces, and it's like the dwarves are scrambling to turn around, but he's already past them. And then we see up ahead as he continues forward. It looks like a wolf wearing a little red riding cape, a hood cape there, as he's looks like he's readying an axe there.
Yes, and
he too is a little too late, as Pedro is already upon him, and in for the kill, basically, and immediately just bursts after that. Like, you can't even see his limbs. He's just a blur with a face, pretty much. And all these, we see all these chess guards, chess peacekeepers, and they're trying to aim their guns at him. But Pedro is he's literally, it seems like he's running possibly upside down on the ceiling. Like, he's going so fast. And I love just all the ways that Oda is depicting Pedro's speed here, because you can see they're all pointing at a spot that is behind where Pedro currently is, which is a great comic technique, just to really let you know how just totally overmatched all these guys are. And Pedro is just racing down the hallway past all of them.
That's
I loved the moment of realizing that dude was a giant Snow White guy.
Yeah, with an apple in his head and hi-ho on his shield.
Yeah,
he's got an apple leaf.
Yeah, this is the kind of setting where Oda can just squeeze in as many fun little things, and then the like Red Riding Hood wolf following it is just like, a quick idea that was like worth 2 panels, but fun like to squeeze in.
Yeah, awesome. I feel like we barely got any of this kind of stuff in Dressrosa, like really really neat character designs for ancillary toadies. I didn't know. I didn't notice the axe. So it's like that guard is a combination of the wolf, Red Riding Hood, and the woodsman.
Yeah. I didn't notice the axe either.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't know half the stuff you guys mentioned. So great. Yeah. Ed.
So as we see that he has dropped a stick of dynamite as he was running by, and they freak out. Run! No. And they all get blowed up good. But over the Denmushi we hear, where is he now? He's descending the stairs. He's near the courtyard of the 3rd floor of the red bean baum cake, which I believe is the wedding cake, I assume. That's what Mama is concerned about.
Well, I'm not really sure about this.
No, that's the building. It could be the building.
Yeah. That's what I took this to mean. It was not delivered with any context, and it was a bit confusing the way that it was worded. But I was just like, okay, well, they're talking about the 3rd floor and courtyards and stuff, so it's a location, and so it was actually Anbaum in the Japanese, and I was like, okay, well, it's probably Baum is probably for Baumkuchen, the type of cake. Although in this arc, I think everybody is more familiar with King Baum because Baum means tree. It's like the Baumkuchen is the layers of the tree. It's a layer cake.
So Pedro's a real cool guy. He doesn't look at explosions. He's just with the back to the explosion as running away. But we see that the person receiving this transmission is Baron Tamago. So he says to Konahim in the garden, s'il vous plaît. Yes, sir. They respond and they end the transmission. But he gets another call. It says, hey, Baron Tamago. And it's General Smoothie. And she says, you were right. There was another one. Yours is a decoy. He's like, si, Pedro, you conniver. And she relays the message that they slipped past us into the treasure repository, then locked the doors. She actually apologizes to Baron Tamago for being sloppy, as we see her people are either all over the floor, and one of them is banging on the door, asking to open up. But Baron Tamago on the other end says, I see. Well, that chamber de treasure has only one door in or out. As long as you hold firm there, nothing is ruined. Smoothie continues, good point. We'll do that. If he defeats the guards inside and then comes through the door, we'll kill him. Is that cool? Is it cool? Sure, I think it is. He is Le Burns, one of the freaks Mama desires. So, half kill only.
Too bad they don't know that he's already been killed.
Yo ho ho. And we get a good look at Smoothie's design.
I love it.
I like them legs. Ooh, them legs though.
Yeah, I think
them legs though.
So she's a long leg, I guess.
Yeah, and she's got like
Tom's like
arm.
30. Yeah. Oh god.
I think this might be giant gloves. Hey,
hey, I'm right there with you, man.
Oh, did anyone notice that there's like a Count Chocula looking guy like directly between her legs there?
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, Foxy, he's back.
It's the Noid.
Hey Steve.
Oh man.
Anyway, next. Yeah, Joey, go ahead.
All right, so now we cut to the room with the poneglyphs. Is that the library? No, that's another spot. And we see Brooke, weighed down by his massive turban, is saying, well, and getting up. There were far fewer than he saw earlier when he first surveyed the room, and compliments Pedro, brilliant work. And we still got a few big guys here, and then the little Louise Belcher-looking dude, and the big guy with the shark teeth says, well, he's a real odd creature, even for this country. And Brooke agrees. Yo ho ho, trying to cut them off from stealing any possible skull jokes. And then the soldiers attack. noting that Mama will be delighted with him because he'd be a great, unique addition to her collection. But Brooke has heard about these guys from Pedro, where I had previously assumed that these were humans in costumes. They are in fact like inanimate objects brought to life with Big Mom's power. The chess peacekeepers, which I love.
Okay, thank you. Someone is on my side.
Yeah, it's great. Great pun.
Hey, it's not like on the level of some of my King Bomb puns, but whatever the hell those were.
But we've got a full set here: the bishop, the rook, pawn, knight, and even a king and queen. But this is great because this means that they're good fodder that could be completely cut in half and destroyed and stuff, and we don't have to worry about gore.
They look neat.
Yeah, they look awesome. So Brooke pulls out his shark guitar and says, "You're moved by your souls." And as he fights one of the rooks, I think, he says, "Wow, what power! Hang on, at least let me tune first."
Rook versus Brooke.
Yeah, can't spell Brooke without Rook.
That's right.
And you can't spell Rook without.
Okay, play some rockabilly music.
That's right.
Oh no! If you had an opportunity, that was that one character that rode in on the caterpillar. I am gonna name him Rockabilly.
Rockabilly, little Billy. Oh, little Billy.
Yeah.
Rockabilly. We're on the next page, and they all jump him. They all jump the queen. They jump the king of souls. So Brooke's got all of the chess peacekeepers on him. As we hear a gigantic goang, and he says, "Whoa, whoa, wait for me, baby!" And it appears that the homies, these chess peacekeepers, are getting the souls completely sucked right out of them with a foom and another foom. And the two guards, Shark Tooth Stevie and Beardy Magoo, they're dumbfounded, and Brooke, of course, says, "You aren't familiar with my epithet, are you? I'm the Soul King." And there's this amazing spread of Brooke just laying waste to all of the homies using his soul powers, which, if you recall, I totally called months ago. And there's this really cool, like, monstrous soul version of Brooke right behind him, and surprises the crap out of the two remaining guards. And he says, "Your lazy slapped-on little souls cannot stay on their feet in the presence of my soul scream." Boom.
Woo. Okay, so what is Brooke's power level?
It's above Big Mom's, apparently.
So
my scouter broke. I can't tell.
So Steve, you have joined us here on the podcast. I want to welcome you by making you read 2 pages.
Kept you waiting, huh? Okay.
Pop quiz.
Pop quiz. What happens on these 2 pages?
Well, Sanji remains cool. Eneru comes back.
Debatable.
And Dellinger joins the crew.
Hey, Steve, guess what?
Chicken butt.
You're fired.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
I'm kidding. You're not. I'd never fire you.
Alex, you don't have that kind of authority.
Sorry, I'm getting over my heart attack. Oh, by the way, I'm sure Alex was gleefully saying his name on the intro without me ahead of him. But we're in the prison library.
Oh my god.
Which I'm pretty sure Zach wanted to send me due to my lateness.
And love of books.
And love of books.
It's the perfect combination.
You guys don't know this, but Steve's alternate email is booksarecool@yahoo.com.
No, books is cool.
Books is cool.
Books cool.
But wait, that joke ran enough. Who's the goopy guy again?
Opera.
Okay, so he's sitting down enjoying the magical world of reading as one of the chess peacekeepers opens the door, and Pudding steps in, and Luffy's like, "Whoa, it's Pudding!" And oh wow, I totally forgot that his name is said on this page. My mistake. And she asked Brother Opera if it's okay for her to go in there and talk with Luffy and Nami. Those two who are screaming her name right now, or at least it's Luffy saying like, "Hey, let us out of here. They captured us." And Opera says, "Luffy and Nami Yushie, we're all right." And one of the peacekeepers, it says, "Inserting bookmark," as it's hard to tell what it looks like, but they insert it between the jail cell bars and it bends them. It looks like a shoehorn.
It totally does.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and shoehorn this into this.
We're gonna shoehorn this plot line. Luffy says, "Hey, Pudding, what's the deal? We went to the shore." And Nami's like, "Shut up, you idiot! They're obviously listening to us." And Pudding's like, so they got you, huh? And she continues, "Did my brothers and sisters do horrible things to you? I'm so sorry about that."
The way you say it.
I'm sorry.
Doesn't sound like you're
sorry.
I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to keep my promise to meet you there. And I don't know who
makes it sound sarcastic.
Because I'm recapping. I'm not trying to audition for Pudding here.
Why not?
You don't know you're not. We didn't tell you.
You'd make a great tapioca.
Settle for a snack pack. I don't know who here is saying, "Oh, Pudding." I have no idea.
It's Nami.
And we cut back to Opera, who's obviously listening in. He's just like, what are they whispering about over there?
What is that voice?
It's the American Dream. Opera.
Opera, baby.
Okay,
it's Opera, baby. And we cut to Sanji, who he's picking flowers and humming a tune. He is in total denial. Sorry, I wasn't here for the earlier pages, but him acting like the old Sanji, to me that was the equivalent of "Here comes Mr. Funny Voice." Oh, it's just air. He's dead inside. That's not the Sanji.
We will talk about that after.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about that more.
Yeah. But yeah, he's picking flowers, saying I'm just gonna pretend everything is okay. Just keep all these emotions bottled up inside. I won't need therapy. And that's it for that page.
And we are on the final page, which I call the white space page. And
it's One Piece circa 1998.
Yeah, it's just I haven't seen a page that looks like this in a while. I think Steve hit that on the nose there, actually. So Pudding kneels down to talk with Luffy, and Nami is obscured behind him as she begins that she wanted to let Luffy know that Sanji has proposed, and Luffy is shocked, and Nami is doubly shocked because now she has pupils and irises, and which I don't think she usually has both. And Pudding is just like, "Oh, it's a wonderful feeling, but I know he's just being considerate, and I know I'm causing pain to everyone, so
look at her face there. That's great."
Yeah, that's a very interesting face. I don't know.
He likes me, but I don't think he likes me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think
there's
that's
a lot of things in this sequence that you can kind of put multiple meanings on depending on what you think she's thinking.
The mystery continues.
She's very enigmatic, especially in that panel in particular. Anyway, she says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to marry him," which provides an interrobang to both Luffy and Nami for some reason. And she whispers, she whispers. She gets close, and the whisper bubbles come out from either side. And thank you. Yeah, I needed the sound effects there as well. And
it was mostly to tickle your ASMR fancy, but
we get a triple interrobang or questionation point for those who are longtime listeners. And Luffy's shocked. Nami is also shocked. And Pudding gets up and begins to walk away as Luffy yells, "Wait, Pudding, what did you say?" Which I also am very curious about. And all Pudding says is goodbye with tears down her cheeks.
Goodbye.
And a smile.
The name of the ancient kingdom is...
You got mail.
It was American Online the entire time.
That's right.
Think about it. You don't see it anymore.
The One Piece is just a treasure chest full of old AOL discs.
Yeah.
Discs, yeah.
And their AIM username was...
Sanji's cool.
Book's cool. Okay.
Books is cool.
So that's the chapter. Let's begin with Roger.
I really enjoyed this chapter a lot. I feel like there hasn't been a bad Whole Cake Island chapter since the Seducing Woods, and even those were kind of arguable. But I feel like, every single one of these past chapters has been great. My big question, which I'm sure is everybody's question, is what the hell did Pudding say to them at the ending? And there are so many theories out there, and a bunch of people are saying different things. I personally think she just told them that she's leaving, and she kind of knows that Big Mom is going to go crazy if she leaves, but she doesn't care. She wants to go off and create her own marriage.
It's the obvious foreshadowing based on her flashback of talking to Lola.
Right.
I mean, it's the obvious implication. I mean, there are more obscure ways you could construe it, but that's the obvious way to look at it.
Yeah, so the big thing that people are theorizing that I feel is just too dark for One Piece is that she told them she's going to kill herself. And that it was foreshadowed through a lot of the panels earlier on where she's looking off the balcony and she's sort of lost in thoughts.
You've not read One Piece before.
That's where my dark mind went.
Well, I had thought that she was saying she's going to take out Big Mom, and possibly that would put her in danger.
Maybe.
Okay.
It seems like it would be something more dire than her just leaving because of the hatching on Luffy and Nami's eyes and their shocked faces. Right. Luffy's face especially, because to rile Luffy up, it's got to be something ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's probably more extreme than you may think on first reading this. Go on, Roger.
I think she said, "I'm going to marry Sanji. There's not a damn thing you can do about
it." She just goes all full on yandere and just says, "I'm going to marry him no matter what, and we'll kill each other." So I don't know, man. I don't know what she's going to.
She might have. That's possible because that would evoke that reaction.
Morning after.
Maybe it's we'll be married in the afterlife or something.
Yeah,
she says, we'll be married in the afterlife. We'll be together forever. So I don't know, but
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. But the one big thing I also wanted to point out, going back to what I brought up earlier, talking about the flashback and how it looked like the three-eyed girl from the flashback. And I know it still seems to be up for debate whether or not she is the three-eyed girl, but I thought what a cool moment is if at the end of this chapter when she says goodbye, it would have been so cool if she is the three-eyed girl, if you just saw tears coming from down the middle of her forehead. And you don't see that. You just see tears down her regular two eyes.
Yeah. That's the thing. So this is as nitpicky as I will ever get about this. But when I saw this last panel, I was like, okay, unless her third eye literally just goes seamless and completely disappears into the middle of her forehead. Look how far up that part in her bangs goes. Yeah. I was like, where the hell would that third eye go? If Oda is trying to hide it by, just drawing her bangs over it, he's really playing with fire in this last panel because it really does not look like she could possibly have one in the spot that we saw it earlier. So I don't know. It was a little weird.
What if he just pulls on Araki and just changes his mind? I didn't want her to have a third eye anymore. He doesn't need to be this tall anymore.
Everyone knows anime characters have see-through hair when eyes are concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
Steven,
well, not in One Piece.
Steven, what are your thoughts on the chapter?
I really liked it. I honestly, I don't have that much of an impression about this final scene. I do feel like it's probably like I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of trying to will myself into being surprised if it's something a little more elaborate or shocking than just like, oh, she's going to run away or something. But I'm kind of assuming that will probably be the case at this point. But the stuff before it, I loved. Like, we've been talking about all the wanting to see more of Pedro and Brooke, and we still have a lot of, I think, background, like backstory stuff for them that has not been explained yet. But like, this was exactly the kind of stuff that I wanted to see when it was like, oh shit, Pedro and Brooke, they're doing their like Ocean's 11 infiltration thing here, and they're just going to mess everything up. And this was awesome. Like, Pedro's page was so cool. Brooke's thing was great too. And like this is the sort of stuff that I want to see. Like, I'm happier with just kind of displays of general excellence like this than like seeing them like, okay, well, now Brooke has to fight General Smoothie, and Pedro is going to have to fight Charlotte so-and-so, and it's going to have to be 3 chapters each of stuff. Like, I would rather see them just like get their little mission and do it and look really awesome doing it. That's kind of what I want to see out of this arc at this point. So this was just great stuff. I love those scenes. So yeah, I enjoyed this chapter a lot.
Joey.
I kind of going back to the pudding stuff real quick. I kind of went on a big kind of pudding roller coaster while reading this, because during her first appearance in this chapter, when we were seeing the flashback with her and Lola, I was like, okay, this sinks it. She's good. She doesn't have ill intentions. And then kind of reading this last spread, I initially thought, oh man, no, here comes out the sort of evil, nefarious thing that she's whispering to Luffy and Nami. But then through reading it again, I kind of, where I'm at right now is I'm feeling more like what I had sort of said earlier, is that maybe she's planning on taking out Big Mom and then in that case also putting herself in danger. And the reason for the Lola flashback is because Pudding has seen how Big Mom kind of forces her kids to like marry and stuff, and so Pudding maybe has to wants to put a stop to this to let all the children be free or something like along those lines. But who knows? There's probably a whole nother thing, like third option that I'm not even seeing here.
The thing about like the idea of her saying something like really sinister or messed up to them, like to shock them, like she's putting on an act, is like, I just feel like the crying note at the end of like pulling away and putting, I just feel like it would be such an artifice thing to do. Yeah. Like it only makes drama for the reader. It doesn't make any sense for the characters in the scene.
No, totally. Yeah. But I like this chapter a lot. It's one of those chapters where we get to touch base with everybody. I'm totally in love with that color spread. We talked about it a little bit already, but I just really, really, really gorgeous. And yeah. So I think overall a good chapter. I was a little bit like, I don't know. I think maybe considering that this was the sort of like 20th anniversary One Piece issue, I was maybe had my expectations set a little higher, and so I felt a little like, oh, okay, that's fine. But that's one of the sort of drawbacks of these chapters where you touch in with everybody, is that there's no massive plot movement, but you do get to see everybody and see what they're doing, which is valuable for sure.
And remember, the actual 20th anniversary isn't until July, so that's interesting. And Shonen Jump is celebrating it. All year they have the little things on the side of the physical issues celebrating big moments, and there's going to be a lot of stuff I think that they're doing.
You brought up a good point, though, that July is the 20th anniversary, and we just heard that news story that Wano is going to start in 2017, and we're halfway through Whole Cake Island.
So how many?
Halfway through, that would be like June, July. That would be the beginning of Wano country.
I guess that would be 20-something chapters.
Exactly, right? Lines up. Yeah, it's 22-something chapters. Yeah.
So we'll find out if you have a good prediction for that. And Steve, since you joined us a little late, what are your thoughts?
I definitely enjoyed this chapter a lot more talking about it with you guys for what little I got to. Definitely great to see Brooke do some stuff. I think we were all saying that last week, and it definitely didn't disappoint with some cool visuals, and I think like a gag that we all kind of saw coming with him being the Soul King, finding a bunch of minions with people's souls put inside them. I really find it funny that he keeps his shark guitar just on him, on his person.
Oh, he's got plenty of room. He's only bones. Sorry.
Well, that is true. I want to go back to earlier in the chapter, see if there's anything that I really want to discuss. I like this Rockabilly kid. I don't know what gimmick you guys gave him. I just heard Duo Maxwell. So I hope he was done justice. Coming through.
Hey, see, he literally did the same voice I did. Perfect.
Yeah, I think that was about right. Yeah.
Hero. Just don't tell me to brush my teeth. Okay.
I want to brush my teeth.
Then infinulator. Other than that, yeah, the Sanji being what's the quote here? Be the usual Sanji. And my first thought was, no, not that usual Sanji. Well, I actually think it works as a gag, like, oh, be the usual Sanji, like, oh, look at me, I got hearts in my eyes, women, I'm a dumbass. You're gonna see that all come crashing down, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think this page, like, I know like a lot of people are pissed off with Sanji, but we know like Sanji's doing this just because he's like, all right, my goal is to not let anyone die, and if I do this, everything should work out. And I think the reason why he was all mopey last week was just because the more persistent Luffy is, the greater risk of him being killed off, or just someone from Barate being killed off without like Luffy knowing. So I think he has every right to be stressed out.
Bingo. Like that's exactly like there's no. Luffy's reckless. He knows that. Like Luffy has his good intentions and he usually wins, but this is an instance that Luffy could definitely mess up. Like, and Sanji could tell him, but that would just rile up Luffy even more.
Yeah, I agree. The placement of the Lola flashback was very intentional. I think Pudding has definitely taken some inspiration from her. Pedro doing some stuff was cool. Like to turn his back on explosions. Usual. More I see Smoothie, the more I like her.
Yeah, she's got a totally radical design. That something we didn't mention is that awesome sheath that she has. Sort of like spirally unicorn horn looking sheath is awesome. I just am in love with her design. It's so cool.
Yeah, I have no idea what color she's going to be. I'm really hoping for a blonde, but because I think his big mom is already pink hair.
Steve's waiting for a waifu.
All right, I just released my new memoir. It's called "Waiting on My Waifu."
She'll be around your height. It'll be perfect, Steve.
Oh yeah, I like him tall. And of course we go to the end with the big debate with what Pudding said. And Zach and I kind of both, I guess we were very, we thought the worst possible scenario at first. I honestly thought she was like, well, if I just die, then there's no wedding. But then I totally forgot about the Lola flashbacks. I was like, oh, she's probably just going to run away because that's what Lola did. But I can't, I don't think Pudding is going to be bad, but there's still nothing here that confirms it. Like, this could still have a dramatic turn. Yeah. Like, what if she just said, it's over, get over it. And, and she's like, goodbye. Like she might be, like, would be really cool is if she's evil without knowing it. Kind of like how like a bad guy should be. Like they think they're justified or they think their way is right, even though it's
right.
It's
like
wrong.
if she left the bathroom without washing her hands.
Yeah.
Because I'm evil.
Thank you for the Justice League Unlimited reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what if she just like takes after her mother and just thinks like, oh well, you guys are gonna be in prison for the rest of your life. Like, sorry, but she doesn't know that that's wrong. But I doubt that that's the case. But it would still be very interesting. What is with this third eye? I don't know. It's just is it another? Is it like a demon from another dimension that's going to take over her body or something? I don't know. But
Big Mom, I've come to bargain.
I was thinking more of a Gravity Falls kind of thing, but I don't know.
Spoilers.
Reality. Dog. Bye.
Anyway, Ed, what are your thoughts on the chapter?
I love this chapter. Like, Pedro being just a badass, Brooke being a badass. Like, those are two great things. I love Smoothie. Like, there's going to be a lot of cosplay, I think, of Smoothie in the next year. Like, with the general rise in One Piece cosplay that's gone on in the last 4 or 5 years, and she's perfect for that, I think. But Pedro just being awesome. And Sanji is sort of really plumbing the depths of his despair here, like going down so far that he has to delude himself, and it's kind of pathetic, but like not in a bad way. Like that's how it kind of has to be. Like he's this despairing about the situation that he's got to delude himself into being like, consciously trying to become the old him, and it's I think it works for me. I mean, I was actually a little more upset about it before than I am now because it sort of turned a corner for me. But yeah, I love the cover and the color spread, and this chapter went by really quickly for me. It's really showing the action, I think. So, it's actually interesting to me that Big Mom thinks that they're after the Tamate box, but not after the poneglyph.
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but
yeah.
Like it's interesting, like what her priorities are.
Yeah,
she's really focused on that.
I think that like she. In an earlier chapter, when Jinbei had delivered the poneglyph to her, she mentioned, "Well, I can't read these anyway, so whatever." So that might just be, much lower priority for her.
Unless Ed, you had anything else to say, we could move to Alex on your final thoughts.
Go for it.
Okay, cool. Steven said everything I wanted to say about Pedro. So cool, so absolutely cool. I love all the designs for the ancillary Big Mom toadies. They're super good. The Brooke thing was expected and super cool. There's it's pretty cut and dry. There's nothing really else to say about that. So the thing that I took away from this chapter more than anything was Sanji. Like I couldn't stop thinking about Sanji and how he must feel fucking terrible, like destroyed on the inside. The fact that he is using his love cookery as a coping mechanism is that just it sort of blew my mind and made me think like I wonder if he ever used that as a coping mechanism in the past, like in other places that we've seen him in. Probably not, but that might be a possibility. I don't know, but either way, this has been a really like emotionally terrible thing for Sanji, and I honestly haven't really thought of him, moping around as something out of character, just because this is the most personal thing that he's gone through this entire series. And as Steve said, Luffy is sort of the wild card, and Sanji knows that. And if Luffy does interferes, albeit with good intentions, it could cause Zeph to lose his head, literally. As for Pudding and her lost in translation moment at the end there, whispering to Nami and Luffy, that could go any which way, including her leaving, simply because of the aptly that flashback with Lola that was inserted at a very opportune place. But I Luffy's face and Nami's face at the very end make it look way more dire than that. So I'm eagerly anticipating the next chapter because of that.
I'll make my thoughts short since I think you guys did a really good job at explaining the pros and cons of this chapter. I think the highs of this chapter were the two fights, as we said. I think Book and Pedro really shined beyond shining in this chapter. It was great. And all the little details. I think this is one of Oda's best artistic, or at least design chapters that I've seen in a really long time. There was a lot of white space. I thought particularly when the dynamite fell, during that Pedro fight was a really cool touch. And the end, where we talked about a lot of the white space there, I thought that was cool. I mean, I'm not an artist, but there was a lot of like angles and dynamic motion, and we talked a lot about that during the chapter, but I thought that was all really, really awesome. Yeah, I don't know what to think of the end either, but the fact that Luffy's face looks like that makes me think, you know what? I'm going to like take the risk and say maybe she's evil. I've been trying to take that risk, and I've been going kind of back and forth since the arc has begun. I'm going to try. I think I've been sticking with the, I don't want her to be evil, but I think she is kind of thing. And I think I'm going to stick with that. Consequences be damned. Me being wrong be damned. But overall, really cool chapter, and I'm really, really curious to see next week's chapter. So I think we can move. Yes, Alex. Before we
you did. I did want to mention this, and I didn't notice this until we were going through the chapter. But the way that we're sort of following all the characters through Whole Cake Chateau is kind of incredible. Because we go from Mama's Mama's throne room to Sanji's room to Pudding's room. Really good juxtaposition there. And when Pudding looks over the balcony, then we're taken outside, and then we zoom back in.
Yeah,
into the treasury.
I think if the anime had a bigger budget and better and good directors for this episode, this would be like a really, really good one. Because you could just see Oda's direction in this chapter. You could like feel where he's taking you and kind of see how he's cinematically, trying to bring you through these events.
Exactly. I could see this being the next arc that they make into a episode of blank series, or special
episode of Sanji.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, episode of
Sanji. To that point of it being more cinematic, I thought it was an interesting choice to put those 2 or 2.5 panels of Sanji picking flowers as a transition on that one page, because it really kind of is story-wise out of place, but it brings you. It's important to sort of like keep him in mind while you're reading this part, and is a sort of like cinematic touch.
Yeah, I thought that was really good, and his face there, you could see all the empty pain he's going through. I think that is well done, despite some reservations I may have. Anyway, let's go into the next segment. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
This is the anime recap for episode 767, A Volatile Situation, The Dog and the Cat and Samurai. I'm your host Sam, and today with us we have editorial writer for the site. We have Ash on for the first time. How's it going, Ash?
Going excited.
You excited?
Ready to talk about this episode?
Yeah, I'm kind of head over heels for this episode. It's like, it's like one of my favorites in a very long time.
Usually huh? I was just gonna say, usually I'm not a big anime fan, but this is one of my favorite chapters during the Zoe arc, so I was pretty excited to watch this one.
Screenplay this week is by Shoji Yonemura. Episode director and storyboard artist is Toshinori Fukuzawa, and animation director is Keiichi Ichikawa. I can't always get them the first time through, but Keiichi Ichikawa. Okay.
Hey, your pronunciation's way better than mine would be.
The title card this week is at 4 minutes and 16 seconds. The episode opens with Frankie trying to wake up Brooke and Robin after they had fallen asleep. They were basically trying to greet the samurai when they arrived, but they fell asleep on the job. They had only one job to do, and they could not do it.
I love that. All the adults on the crew, and they're just like, yeah, we'll take care of it, and they all fall asleep.
Barriete, the monkey, is running and panicked as can be, and he's ringing the bell, trying to alert the rest of the minks that samurai have appeared on the top of the elephant. We see Dogstorm walking with a crutch, which I was very happy with after all that all that Kiro stuff. He was just like hopping around as if he never lost a leg.
Yeah, didn't hinder him in any way.
Yep, the minks are at attention and they're all running. This is like kind of one of my only complaints with this episode is that there's kind of a weird run cycle with the minks like all running together here. It's they look kind of low frame ratey.
I don't know. Huh? To me, it looked okay, but again, I'm not a big anime watcher, so I'm just like, everything looks good.
We see Nami trying to wake up Luffy. She's trying to alert them that the samurai have arrived and that they probably need to go figure the situation out because as far as they know, something real bad's about to go down.
Yeah. I love the way when she pulls on his eye, it looks like half one of his eyes is missing. He's just like got one eye on there.
Yeah. We see Kinemon and Konjuro just sort of wandering through the forest, wondering what the bell is for. They figure that it's probably for visitors, and they sort of laugh it off, and they laugh at the rumors that they heard from Law that the minks hate humans, and they're like, oh, is that the story these days? And then Momonosuke arrives. Apparently he woke up during all the chaos and didn't know where anyone was, so he just accidentally found Kinemon and Konjuro. Yeah.
Was I the only one that found like Konjuro's face to be really, really creepy?
Well, Konjuro's a pretty creepy looking guy most of the time, I feel like.
Every time just looking around, I'm just like, he looks like he's up to something shady. If he showed up in my neighborhood and he's just walking around, I'd be like, yeah, that guy's up to something.
So we see Pedro hopping on the roof, trying to sort of scout the area out. Then there's this really great scene where Dogstorm and Cat Viper are basically crossing paths, but they're kind of trying not to look at each other. Like Cat Viper's got his back, and he's like trying to be all stern and noble, and he's like, "I'm not going to look. I'm just going to let this pass." Dogstorm doesn't even know they're there, but then it's Shishilian who notices Cat Viper and freaks out and alerts Dogstorm to Cat Viper's presence.
Yeah, I love that one of Cat Viper's minions is just standing there and he sees Dogstorm. Like, wait, he's like, no, I'm just going to ignore this and pretend it's not happening.
I know. And it's actually it's a really cool, like, suspenseful scene all on its own. Just thinking about the way that these two characters sort of go about their business. Like, they hate each other, they know they'll want to kill each other if they see each other, but they also like know that that's a bad idea. So if they just like keep from looking at each other, then they can
it's kind of like they have to get along for.
But obviously, because of Shishilian, things do not go smoothly. They start to butt heads, basically, and they're all sort of trash-talking each other and like, oh, man, your wound is... Or my wound's tougher than your wound, or just doing their sort of their little dick measuring contest.
The part where Jack was just like cutting into Dogstorm's leg.
Yes.
And how it's breaking sound, which just like sounds like it's sawing into his leg.
Yeah, because they flash
so
back.
Brutal.
They flash back again to the scene where Jack is torturing Dogstorm and Cat Viper, and it gets real violent. Like I was shocked at how graphic they were willing to get with that scene.
Yeah,
where you're just like hearing
the manga, it's just like blood splashing, and you hear the sawing sound.
You
just
hear
like
the sawing sound. You hear like crunching bones. It's like they went all in with this whole like limb cutting thing, and so we're feeling pretty bad for these guys right now.
Oh yeah.
So they're clashing. They're fighting like cats and dogs. And Kinemon is he's getting ready to interrupt them, but the Straw Hats have to like swoop in and stop him. Like, no, a war will break out if they see you, or they'll kill you. So yeah,
this is weird. Like Nami and Usopp were running towards them. It's just like they're just like still friends. You just see their legs and arms just going.
So they're doing the best they can to keep Kinemon and Konjuro from being seen by the minks, but eventually Kinemon just like gets fed up and he just like announces his presence, like, "Hey guys, why are friends fighting? What's the deal here?" And the minks see them, and the Straw Hats are all freaking out, like, "Oh no, something bad's about to happen." And then we see all the minks gathering together and like starting to walk slowly towards the crew and towards the samurai, and like Luffy's like trying to he's leading his men to like defend the samurai if they have to. And it's like this, we're building up for like this big stare down, this big battle that could potentially happen with friends fighting against friends. But instead, both Cat Viper and Dogstorm, they drop, they sit down, they lower their heads, they basically bow, and they are saying like, we're glad you guys are safe, and they reveal that this whole time that they have had Raizo, and that they've had Raizo this whole time, and they were protecting him this whole time. When Jack was torturing them, they knew about Raizo. He was there. The Minks and the Kozuki samurai tribe they're longtime friends, basically, is what we're saying. And this is like a humongous reveal where it's like everything we thought we knew about what was going on in this arc is not at all that. And it turns out that Cat Viper and Dogstorm are some of the coolest people we've ever met in this series. They've really put their money to their mouth, and they put their lives on the line for their friends. And it's like this really cathartic, like you can feel this burden lifting off your shoulders, and it's very interesting to have like this sort of continuation where the audience is led to believe that Kinemon and Konjuro are like just being naive when they're walking into Zou, that like they're
well, Oda did set it up perfectly for you to think that, these guys are going to be so bad
right,
at samurai. When they see them, they're going to just tear them apart, right?
Yeah, you've got Kinemon, who are like, oh man, he's being an idiot. He doesn't know that he's about to get himself into trouble. And then like when we reveal what's going on this whole time, it turns out, no, actually he has a pretty good reason to be confident. He has a pretty good reason to feel safe in this country. And there's this big, like, sweeping orchestral score that is like, I don't think I've heard this track in the anime before. I feel like it must be in the New World OST CD, but I don't think I've actually heard it in the show yet. It's a really great, like, humongous track. As basically everyone just starts crying. Some of them are happy, some of them are sad. We're just like, man, what an incredible scene! Like this whole scene is just nailed perfectly. Like easily one of the best, most well done scenes in the anime ever. Like in a very long time, this is like one of the best episodes I think we've seen yet. And like everyone's crying. You see, Cat Viper crying, Dogstorm crying, Usopp's crying, Frankie's crying, Nami's crying.
Oh, man, and it's just Usopp face, like everyone else is just kind of shocked face at Usopp. Everything's
Usopp's got some of the best stuff in this scene where like he's just like, you guys actually did that. You actually put your lives on the line. Like he's like actually shocked and impressed and like worried for his new friend's well-being.
That was so touching though. Like when he goes up to them, he's just like, he was so afraid of what was going to happen, and now he just can't understand or he can't take it. Like Cat Viper just kind of pats him on the head. And he's like, no, it's okay.
And basically the episode ends with Luffy's got this like big growing smile, like as he's like beginning to understand what's going on. He's like, wow, this is a cool moment, and that's how we get to the to be continued scene.
Yeah, that was basically my reaction at the end. I was just like grinning like an idiot. I was just like, I love this.
And on a similar note, like I love sort of the buildup of when we're thinking that Cat Viper and Dogstorm are about to attack Kinemon. Basically, we focus in on like Usopp's face, where he's like scared and nervous, and then like as he's watching what happens, we're still focused on him, and his jaw like slowly drops, like oh, and then like we see Cat Viper and Dogstorm bow, and it's like whoa, what the hell, what's going on?
Yeah. I love how him and Chopper both just freaked out. They're like, oh shit.
So basically, that wraps us up for the episode. And I think this is one of the best episodes in a long time. Do you have any general thoughts about this episode, about the story, about how the anime version was done?
No, I mean honestly, when the manga, the Zou arc was one of my favorites, and probably will be for a long time.
Yeah,
I think like the Minks in general, I just love them. Like out of all the species we've met in the One Piece world, I think the Fishmen and the Minks like rank up there, and is the ones I like the most. And just the way like Oda set up the mystery, like with the flashbacks alternating back and forth, so you really had no idea that this reveal was coming. I think it was all set up so perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, and this changes like the whole meaning of the arc. Basically, is this reveal, and it's like something like really positive, but also like really surprising and interesting, and the way that there's just like so many moving parts that make a reveal like this work is like really impressive. Like Oda's really a master of build up and payoff, and
he's a master storyteller. Like this arc showed it.
Yeah, for sure. And like for me, in my opinion, like I think this is also one of the better looking episodes in a long time. Like this looks very reminiscent of the recent TV movies, like the Heart of Gold special or the episode of Sabo special, where it's got kind of like thicker outlines. The colors aren't quite as soft. There's more like hatching for the shading. I think this is a really great like look and style for the anime, and I wish it kind of looked like this more often.
Oh yeah. There was only one scene I think kind of looked odd, was the one where they had like that zoom out of all the minks just standing there after the reveal. And kind of could see like, Cat Viper, all of them at the front, but the rest just looked like blurry little shapes.
Well, I mean, they're very small on the screen, and there's a lot of them, so I think that makes sense.
It's just like when I was looking at them, just like, okay, I can see Cat Viper and the rest of them, and the rest just look like blobs on there. It's kind of like,
any final thoughts?
No, I think that's about it.
That should do it, and then we can get on with the next segment then.
All right.
All right, thanks for being on.
Oh, no, thanks for having me. It's nice talking to you.
All right. See you guys later.
This is the Piece Together segment where we go to a field of flowers and think about the good things in life. And we also answer your questions, comments, and theories.
Prance them in our pantaloons.
Bracing shot of absinthe.
Oh God. Let's start with Blair on our email. Hey OPP, just wanted to ask, has Pudding proven herself to be trustworthy now? I've been on the fence about her until this chapter, and I'm a fan now. And also, did Sanji have a breakdown or something? He's in a crisis and he's picking flowers. I think he's eating too much of Big Mom's food. Which could be a side effect, to be fair.
Did you ever see?
She's proven nothing. Like, there's no proof of anything here.
Yeah.
She hasn't.
Well, okay, we did this earlier, I think, in the arc. I think it's time we do this again. Evil pudding? Good pudding. You decide. So that's...
Guess correctly, and you kept the host of the One Piece podcast.
I'm just really pushing off my duties as much as possible.
And in terms of Sanji, what he's going through is the equivalent of Mariah Carey on that one episode of Total Request Live. Like that, he's having his glitter moment right now.
This is great. None of our listeners are going to understand that.
I don't get that at all. Okay, let's go. Evil pudding, good pudding. Hashtag has to be before it. Ed, evil or good pudding?
Good pudding.
Roger, evil or good pudding?
I'm going good pudding too.
Steve, evil or good?
Good pudding.
Steven, evil or good?
Good pudding.
Alex, that was weird. Alex?
Oh yeah, she's a good pudding girl.
God, this... Joey?
Good. No creepiness.
So everyone thinks good except for me.
Although.
Okay, let's go to our next question.
Although, she could... The evil eye thing, she could be like Shiraku, and when that evil eye opens, she's an evil.
No, it's when she falls asleep.
That's right.
Then her evil alter ego awakens and takes over her body,
and she marries Hakuba in the end.
Exactly.
I kind of think at this point, like if she does turn out to be evil, I kind of like what Steve said earlier, which is that like maybe if she's evil, it might be that she doesn't know she's evil. Like she's doing something that she thinks is just fine, like based on how she grew up, and she doesn't actually like mean to be evil. Like I don't think she's conniving. I think if anything, it's maybe misguided evil or misguided good. I don't know. I think she's good though.
I think she's chaotic neutral.
I feel like that's being unknowingly evil is that sounds like a Germa trait more than a Big Mom trait. Simply because like Big Mom has so many kids, and Lola kind of came to the conclusion herself, like screw this, I'm gonna go out on my own. But for Reiju, I could definitely see that for sure. Be like, oh, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do, but it's actually an evil thing to do.
I think it's kind of interesting to note like the difference in the parenting styles of the two, because it's like, Germa is like super regimented. They have all these tests and all this training and stuff that they do. And he very clearly expects like a certain type of behavior from his children. Whereas as Big Mom is just sort of like, it's like Lord of the Flies. Like she just lets them do whatever the hell they want. And, that then you end up with like a bunch of, crazy kind of just id monsters, like just kids going out of control, and then you have some that just turn out to be good people. From what we can tell, like Lola and Pudding.
Some are stabby, pompadour, motorcycle riding.
But yeah, Pudding doesn't brush her teeth, so that's
no.
Evil. What a heel.
Evil.
Next question on the emails come from Christian, who says, very good question here. I like this one. How does Brooke's electric guitar work without an amp?
Soul power.
Solar power.
It's a wireless.
Yeah, Steven liked that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I might have to write that one down. Okay, that's it for our emails. What do we have on Reddit, Steven?
Okay, boy, how are we going to get through all of these questions? Lots of good questions on Reddit today. We will start off with Sun Pirate 63, who wants to know, how do we think Sanji will defeat his brothers and father? I hope that he will single-handedly whip ass Bruce Lee style in Game of Death, starting with Yonji, then Niji, Ichiji, and Judge.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. That would be so good.
If he does that Bruce Lee, that cry, when he just his finishing move when he was like, just give me like 5 panels of Sanji just like unhinging his jaw. I'm all for that. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah, but that's Kung Fu Chopper's shtick.
It's the X-Pac noise, Steve.
No.
What's next, Steven?
I'm down for that. Rive of Discard says, with Capone being abducted by aliens before the time skip, and the only known extraterrestrials being Eneru, I don't know if that's actually true, but what do you think the chances are that Eneru will make an appearance at the wedding? Also, is there any other unexpected faces you think could appear at the wedding?
Don Krieg.
That would be unexpected.
It's kind of expected, but I think Zeph. I've been of the mindset that I think Zeph is actually on the island, and I kind of feel like it would be such a good moment if like Sanji and Pudding are walking up to the altar. If Pudding ends up being captured and forced to go in, I could see them like walking up to the altar, and then he looks over to the pews. In the very first row, you just see Zeph there with like one of those explosive collars, just as like a reminder to Sanji, like, believe me, go through with this, otherwise we're gonna kill him on the spot. And I don't think they're gonna go to East Blue and kill Zeph like in that amount of time. So I feel like Zeph has to already be there, and I do think he'll show up at the wedding.
I feel like you would definitely need a surprise guest, though. I think regardless, because it's a wedding.
I think Lola has a better chance of showing up than Zeph does at this point.
I think both are equally unlikely.
Yeah.
Even for the surprise. I mean, I think they're probably. I feel like that's just a trope of like crashed weddings, is that a crazy person will come in and
Mrs.
This is your life.
Exactly.
Every pro wrestling wedding ever.
And we all know Oda is a fan of that. So
wait, are we gonna find out that Pudding got? No, I'm just gonna stop myself. No one's gonna get this reference.
Good idea.
Game's gonna show up.
What's next?
Nivers has, I guess this is a wrinkle on the usual question. If you were one of Big Mom's husbands, what would your kids be the ministers of? So not yourself. What would you want your kids to do?
Oh my god, it's like the same question though. But they have to rhyme with their names. I know that's not technically true, but
I would name my kid Rojo, and he'd be the minister of cocoa.
You just want chocolate. That's all you want.
I don't know what my kid's name would be, but I want them to be the minister of peanut butter, because that shit goes great with just about anything.
So peanut butter, butter,
Peanut butter,
Shmeenut schmutter.
I could go for a minister of tacos in my house.
Paco, the minister of tacos.
Oh man, that's so good.
Paco.
Amazing.
Minister of Choco Taco.
Let's see.
Ooh.
Paco, minister of Choco Taco?
No. Roger's kin would have to marry Joey's kin, so then we, through that marriage,
Choco Taco's perfect.
The choco
and the tacos.
See, yeah. For me, it would be a girl, of course. Her name would be Olive, minister of olives.
You have a problem.
Yeah, or Letta. Or Loretta, minister of feta. I'm sold.
You're going to be on You're going to be on your own Greek island, which of course don't exist in real. No, those do. Okay, go on.
All right. We have two longer, I guess, comments or theories about Sanji's behavior. So I'm just going to read them both here. We'll see what we think. None Easy says, my friend and I came up with a theory about Sanji. Obviously, some Sanji fans are pretty upset with how he's been acting recently, not believing in Luffy, not recognizing the situation after similar experiences with Nami and Robin, and essentially not learning a thing from when he first joined and refused to fight against Pearl. We were thinking that Luffy saying, without you, I can't be the Pirate King to Sanji is foreshadowing Sanji being the one to rescue everyone this arc and not the other way around. We know a lot of Sanji's mannerisms and beliefs come straight from Zeph and have led him to basically give up on his crew and his dream in this situation. We think Oda plans on Sanji reaching a breaking point where he will become his own person, perhaps when he is reminded of his dream to find the All Blue and why that matters to him personally. Or if Luffy or someone is about to die. Sanji will undergo a massive character change and may never be the same again after this arc is finished, culminating with him overcoming his family and saving his friends. In short, massive character change and potential power-up for Sanji incoming. What do you guys think? And then I will go to Steak and Salad, who says, these last few weeks have been hard on me as a Sanji fan, not because I'm disappointed in his actions, but because of fans not understanding his core personality and thinking that it's out of character. Sanji is self-sacrificing to a fault, though it's occasionally blended in with his chivalry. Sanji has made plenty of decisions that narratively have been framed differently than when Zoro or Luffy make the same decision. More reckless and willing to sacrifice his life in a way that seems as if he doesn't value his life a whole lot. The way he acts to me is that of a person with low self-worth, no thanks to the upbringing he received with his horrible family. I'm not trying to be too psychoanalytical here, but it seems like this is a subconscious trait where when the chips are on the table, Sanji doesn't value his own safety that much. He was willing to die to protect the restaurant of Zeph's, forsaking Zeph's desire for Sanji to live. He was the only Straw Hat who disobeyed Luffy's order to run in Sabaody, and even in the recent chapter 845, he states that I was in hell until 13 years ago, and I'm just back where I started, almost as if he thinks that is where he's destined to or that he doesn't deserve better. This is what makes Luffy's speech in 844 a great character moment. Luffy is seeing the problem, or just the gist of it, and is telling Sanji that he values him and that he needs him to be Pirate King. And Sanji just had to beat up one of the only people there who says they believe in him, while he himself has some doubts. I think a big part of this climax will be Sanji overcoming this character trait and finding his self-worth while working hand in hand with Luffy versus the Vinsmokes or whoever else. What do you guys think of this opinion? Do either of these
those are two different questions, two different comments.
Yeah.
I think that second one's really interesting.
I really like that second one.
I think we toss around words like chivalrous and stuff a lot around with Sanji's personality because it's sort of an easy go-to thing with the Mr. Prince thing. And I think saying self-sacrificial is a really good way of putting it. I think that was an interesting point.
I mean, I really like the idea that it was a causal, like, I like the psychoanalytical reason that it was a result of his upbringing and how he sees himself in the world, and I guess more importantly amongst friends even. He doesn't think very much of himself. I think that's a really probably accurate way to put Sanji. We don't really think about it that much because we just think Sanji is cool. Or lovey-dovey or whatever he might be that day. But I think that really adds a very interesting third-dimensional element to him. I like the Steak and Salad.
I think there's definitely like more that Oda needs to, we need to get further down that kind of mindset with Sanji in this arc for that to be like an accurate like picture of Oda's intentions. I don't think we've necessarily seen enough to say for sure. But I think that would be a satisfying, like if he's able to break it down, in terms of Sanji's mentality that much as to like kind of rebuilding him or whatever, that would be, I would be much happier with, this whole turn of a sequence of events with Sanji, if he's able to achieve something like that through the storytelling.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we have somebody like Zoro who kind of he altered his dream, I guess, of being the number one swordsman in that like he does want to be the number one swordsman, but he also wants to help Luffy, and that was very cut and dry for Zoro. But for Sanji, God, they both listeners made extremely good points, and I love both theories, honestly. But I do love the idea that this is Sanji's realization, like that where his true dream lies. I do think that we need a little bit more backstory on Sanji, just a little bit more, simply because it's not just the like how I treat ladies thing, but where he got the his credo, like protecting people who are weaker than yourself. That was sort of touched on a little bit with the mouse, like feeding the mouse, but it didn't really like hit home that point.
Yeah,
so, I don't know. I feel like that should be explored a little bit, because that's like a huge part of his character. But sacrificing himself, though, that's not something I actually like considered. Like it was more of just like, I'm going to protect everybody. But this is never thought of it that way.
We'll move on to Quick Password, who is remarking that the whole last 4 minutes of the anime episode this week was some of the best things the OP anime has ever done, in my opinion. While reading it in the manga, I liked the twist and had a nice grin about it for 5 minutes, while in the anime, I cried and was incredibly touched so much. What, in your opinion, were instances where the anime hit you a lot harder than the manga? Other examples for Quick Password were the ringing of the bell in Skypiea and Ace's death.
The one that immediately comes to my mind is Chopper's flashback, and especially Hero Luke's death.
That's the one?
Tenfold in the anime. I mean, not that the manga wasn't moving, but I think where it was placed in the anime and where it was
Ave Maria
in the background.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I really can't say that for Ace's death, because it was so sudden and it hit me so hard when it was in the manga. That knowing that it was coming, it did reduce the impact for me.
Yeah, I think. Robin's flashback too, just because it's especially in the Japanese where it's voiced by an actual 8-year-old, I think 9-year-old. You feel that. Yeah.
There are two instances for me that make me absolutely lose it in terms of weight, and one of which is when they leave Drum and you see the Drum Rockies light up. The music cue and Chopper's reaction and every single thing about that episode. I think it's just the last 5 minutes of that particular episode. They make me absolutely lose it every single time. It really hits me. And when they're leaving Water 7, Luffy and Usopp's little moment when Usopp screams at the Mary or Sunny Go and apologizes.
A lot of stuff from the early episodes. The March along Park, Nami and Chopper's flashback. When the Straw Hats leave Alabasta, was it something later? Luffy punching what's his name? Charlos. Yeah. I just about almost most of the fight scenes, or the final blows, were all incredible. I'd say usually anything musical, the being sake and the anime, it's stuff like that. Hey, the anime. I mean, the manga does a fine job, but that's where the anime exceeds. And but the March on Along Park is still my favorite scene in the entire series, and it's because of the anime. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm kind of with him with the music. I feel like the music really does make it, and that's probably why I like the Ave Maria climax of Chopper's flashback more in the anime, even though I love it in the manga too. I also really like, in terms of recent things, the Nekomamushi song. The Cat Viper song, I think, was really well done in the anime, and I liked all the weird little images they were using of him and how they imagined Cat Viper would act. And one instance that I really like in the anime, but it's not necessarily because I feel it's dramatic, I just think it was really funny and I go back to it regularly, was the moment in Fishman Island where Sanji's going to see Shirahoshi for the first time. And Chopper's telling him, don't look behind you, you're going to die. And the way the To the Grand Line soundtrack plays and Sanji just like in his little inner monologue saying how he's finally found his all blue, and even if this is the last thing he's going to see, like it's going to be worth it when he finally sees Shirahoshi and he turns to stone. It's strange, like that moment I completely went over in the manga. I was like, all right, this is whatever, fine, it's a Sanji joke, but I genuinely laughed out loud when it happened in the anime. So that's another choice for me.
I think that part in the manga was actually just part of the final spread there, right?
Was it? I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think that it happens in the middle of the arc. When she came out of the shark's stomach, Megalo.
Oh yeah.
There's one other thing that, a lighter moment I forgot to mention, and that's, I think, the return to Shabari stuff in the anime is pretty spectacular. On the whole, I think that's probably like one of the arcs, like on average, it's short, if you want to call it an arc. That's just, I think, more enjoyable in the anime, and that's a lot because of Brook and Cho. But yeah, that stuff's great. Go ahead.
I don't remember. I don't know if I would, necessarily say particularly like better than the manga, but I remember being really struck by the moment where Crocodile's hook is going through Luffy and that whole sort of defeat sequence, and being like, I think I even called my roommate over. I like rewound it and was like, check this out. And he didn't watch One Piece. He didn't know what he was looking at, but I was I was all into it.
Yeah, that's a cool bit. Like the music and everything else just stops, and it's just completely silent for about a minute. Yeah, that's a pretty powerful scene.
Yeah. Steven, what's next?
Zaydoctor has a really cool suggestion. What do you think if after Whole Cake Island we got a Germa 66 cover story in the style of a newspaper comic strip?
It would be different.
Awesome.
Great. I would like that. Yeah.
Even single images depicting the comic strip would be cool.
I mean, one panel like Marmaduke.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
or like a little dotted line of
thing.
where Germa 66 is walking around.
That's funny. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, God, Marmaduke.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that happens now. I'll be disappointed if that doesn't happen.
Germaduke.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's going to do for the next cover story.
It's just a series of that is a big judge joke.
It's like the Decks of the World, Luffy beat Big Mom arc. No, we'll
you say that joking, but that's probably what's going to happen.
We'll move on to Prince of Assassins, who wants to know, if you had to replace one of your favorite movies with King Baum as the protagonist, what would the new title of the film be?
Oh, boy.
I'll start off. This is just a simple spelling change. I would say The Royal Tenenbaums.
That's like the best.
Well, how about...
what was it?
The Royal Tenenbaums. Ed, are you listening?
Reservoir Logs.
Oh, I see what we're doing now.
I like that.
But how about the military classic Tree Kings?
See, I'm more partial to The Empire Strikes Back.
A branch too far.
Branch over the River Kwai.
I have one that I didn't even have to bother changing. Forrest Gump.
Forrest Stump. So that's two. Two things.
Shit on my parade.
I'm not writing any of these down.
Oh,
man.
Zach, it's like we're in line for Queen's Comfort.
I know. That's exactly what it is.
I was going to actually do The Empire Strikes Back, so I'm kind of mad that you took that, but I'm going to go with The Fern Awakens instead. I'll go with another
I like it. Yeah.
I know my internet's getting out. Did everyone hear mine?
No, what was yours?
Reservoir Logs.
Oh, no, we did
yeah.
that. It's less funny the second time, though.
I wasn't sure. I kept getting logged into Skype.
I'm kidding.
How about Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Baum?
I was trying to think of a Doctor Strange stuff one, but there you go, you got it. What's next?
All right, we'll go to Elusive Elephant, who is curious to know who you think Big Mom's current husband is. Otherwise, why wouldn't she just marry Judge herself? Also,
says she has one.
Also, what do you think is the limit to what she can put souls into? We have seen them in trees, mountains, and even her ship. So I was just wondering if she could put one into one of her islands. Seems interesting to me that she has so many so close together. Yeah, like he hasn't really defined how the whole family situation works with her. At this point, I'm not sure if Oda really intends to. I always figured like, oh, it's going to be some weird, magical power thing. Like it's not a strictly biological birthing process here because she has so many kids. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's getting a little too close to the heart of the matter as to like explaining away how this story arc came together. But
I could see this being a sort of SBS question where we get a funny doodle or something of what her husband looks like. It's like exactly like him or exactly looks like her, but with a mustache or something.
I think Pound might be an indication of what happens, honestly.
Probably.
She gets what she wants and then throws him out.
Mm-hmm.
Like an independent woman.
And I like the idea of her kind of like maybe as far as using her powers, like of the whole island being kind of like the big climactic blowout. Like that would be sort of what was the Moria thing with Shadows Asgard? Was that when just sort of like, okay, she's going to use all of her power and turn like the entire island into a homie. And
oh my God,
it's symbolic defeat being like, okay, well that's the end of her power or whatever.
It's a whole cake.
Exactly.
She's excited about the cake.
Oh, that would be cool if the cake came to life. Yeah, I like
that. Soul Cake Island.
We'll move on to Black Northwind, who wants us to know in his city there's a shoe shop that is called Sabo. Thank you.
Where is it? Tell me where I could go.
Nick Fridge has a practical question. I've bought every DVD volume that's come out, and I've thought about starting to work on the manga volumes. The only problem is I have a very small apartment, and I'm running out of space. For you guys that collect all the physical media, have you come up with any cool or efficient ways to store all your anime and manga? I want to support the series by buying the volumes, but I don't want to just leave them in a closet either.
As a man who lived with all 80 volumes and every DVD in a 500 square foot apartment for 5 years, buy lots of bookshelves. There's really no other answer.
I'd say the treasure boxes, when you're starting to buy them, are probably the best compartments for them. You don't have to buy shelves; they're pre-made shelves. I'd say if you're willing to make the leap to digital, I have been very happy with all the digital copies. Though I completely, I'm also a big physical person. I have both because I have a podcast about this. So, it's up to you and how much space you want to have One Piece in. And I think the answer is as much as possible. So,
yeah, it hurts my heart to have to start like double stacking and putting books in front of other books on my bookshelves. But it's just gotten to a point where that's the way it has to go, especially when you're buying manga series that last many, many volumes.
Yeah, I've had to double over mine too. I would like to get some more shelves so I can just have all of my volumes in a row, but that's tough. It's a lot of tonks.
Yeah, I've got all of the copies of both Japanese and English for the manga. So I'm quickly running out of. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to have to double stack them. Which is what I had before, but or right now at least I have plenty of shelves at least.
I actually have a reasonable answer for this, and that's use your parents' house as storage for the volumes you're not using. So I have. So what I do is, if I'm reading an arc, or if I need, if I think I need a few arcs of it, I switch them out when I get home. And
well, that's easy for you to say, Zach. You live fairly close to your parents.
Yeah, but you see your parents all the time too, right?
I do, but all my crap is here.
You also have a house, I have
and I still don't have room for stuff. That's how much crap I have.
You have a lot of crap, and it's good crap. Don't get me wrong, but you have a lot of.
Oh no, but crap is crap, no matter how much you have of it.
That's a good point.
That's my favorite Dr. Seuss quote.
Important here's a hoarder.
What's the next question, Steven?
All right, getting to the bottom here. SS Luffy wants to know, why does everyone on the internet so sure that pudding is evil? As far as I can tell, the only thing that she has lied about or hid was that she has 3 eyes, which doesn't necessarily make her an enemy. Possibly Big Mom told her not to tell anyone, as it may put the Vinsmokes off, marrying their son to a 3-eyed woman. We have not seen any evidence to show that her meeting Sanji at the start of the arc didn't happen. And we also see that she tried to get to the shore to meet Luffy, but was held up. Also, there would be no reason for her to tell Sanji that she led the Straw Hats to a trap if she planned it. Not to mention the stuff in this chapter and her being too nice. What? Well, Akainu seems too evil, so he must be a pretty nice guy. Sorry for the sarcasm. We did a tally, and I think we are all on your side here.
Except for me.
Except for Zach.
No, I'm not against. I think it's perfectly plausible that she's good. I'm just kind of 51%. I think she's evil. I'm starting to think it a little more, only because really of Luffy's expression in that final page. Unless she was gonna kamikaze attack the wedding, I can't imagine what would make Luffy make that face unless it was her betraying them in some way.
I just had a really stupid theory.
Here we go.
What if Chiffon is a shapeshifter? And she has very specific powers as to who she can shapeshift into, and those just being her brothers and sisters.
So maybe you just proved you could be a YouTuber. That's really good.
Where can I subscribe?
Roger, the best line of the night goes to you there. What's next?
I guess I would say that I feel like the putting his evil thing is probably dying down now, but I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we always knew going in that she, Pudding was overwhelmingly likely to be the 3-eyed girl, and so the longer that you go without seeing that addressed, it makes it seem like she has something to hide. And also there was just that stretch in the seducing woods where I was like, oh wait, Pudding isn't here, like what happened? And so naturally it just turns into conspiratorial thinking. One
of the problems with reading a series for so long that keeps proving to you that you can't trust what you expect is that you start second guessing everything, and you start looking for twists. And so that would certainly be a twist.
Yeah. We'll go on to D-Nubs Pro, who had an idle thought the other day while raking leaves. Is there any adventure in One Piece for the sake of adventure? Even arcs like Skypia and Fishman Island that begin with adventure in mind turn into save the country plots. When the crew stumbles upon new places like Thriller Bark or Punk Hazard, they have some great wacky ideas thrown at them, but they're replaced with plot and sometimes forgotten altogether. Is the trend of sticking the intrigue and mystery at the beginning of arcs healthy for storytelling? I'm struggling to think of instances where Oda was able to maintain a sense of adventure throughout a storyline. I fear we've already crossed a point in the series where every journey the crew makes has to contribute to reaching the end game. Just some food for thought.
Is he complaining that every arc has plot in it that contributes to the main story?
I don't know if he's complaining, but
that's the nitpick. I mean, that's Oda is that kind of storyteller where everything is important for some reason. We used to think Skypia, I think, was that sort of arc, even though it did end and save the country, but at least that it was an adventure apart from everything else, and that's not true. I think, if Oda returns to the series after its 50-year run and decides to add some adventures of the Straw Hat crew in the middle of some, I feel like that's like a movie, and that's what a movie is for, or that's what a filler arc is for.
Right, totally.
It's an adventure for the sake of adventure. And I think the movies, they don't often end in saving the country. So I think that's probably where you want to go for that.
Oda wants to keep Luffy's motives pure. So Luffy, you get to see through his perspective where you're looking for adventure for the sake of adventure, but Oda's always going to throw in things to make you care about the story more.
Right. Plus, it's like, it kind of depends. I hate to do it like a Bill Clinton here, but it depends on what your definition of adventure is, because it's like the whole point is that you're delving into this, unknown, mysterious place and finding out what happens there. But like, if that's all you ever want, then there's necessarily not any story, or it's just a series of partially related hijinks without any stakes or connective tissue or something. It's like the adventure is finding the story and then following the story to where it leads us. And so I kind of get what he's saying about everything turning into this giant dire stakes climactic thing. But I was trying to think, and I was like, I don't know. It's hard to think of it as an adventure, but probably the closest thing in the manga is maybe Long Ring Longland with the Foxy stuff, because like that's just kind of, it's just going around this weird place and having some hijinks go on, and they're not really saving much of anything except for Tonjit's ability to cross the islands. There isn't a whole lot of drama there. Even with Chopper being taken, there wasn't a lot of drama, but
I guess the same with like Gaimon.
yeah. And lastly, very important question from Ogru. This is our last question on Reddit. Where is Pound?
I think legitimate question to ask. Yeah, it's probably still in the forest, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just like, I don't know. I kind of like that hole. I'm going to go back there.
Maybe there's our wedding crasher right there. He's definitely going to come back in the story in some.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think it's very, very not just possible but likely. But yeah. So it's time for what's it called again, Ed? What's it called?
Piece the tweet.
It's time for Piece the Tweet. Ed, what do we got this week?
First question this week comes from Ash, and as we get closer to the end of the year, probably see more questions like this. What is your favorite panel or spread of 2016 in One Piece so far? His is this chapter's Soul King spread.
That's freshest in my mind. I mean, that was a beautiful spread.
It's got to be like Big Mom's, like like her celebrating, or like the at the end of the wedding cake thing, like when she's singing about wedding cake.
No, Zoe was this year too, though. Don't forget.
That's what I'm trying to remember. What was the start?
I think for me, if this moment was in Zoe during this year, the moment where Jack gets swept over by Zunisha, where you just see his little Jack and then the giant trunk. I think that was this year, wasn't it?
That was. I think, when he comes back.
I was thinking that too, Roger. Good pull.
Yeah.
The most Zack moment this year, most Zack panel, was the revelation of the road poneglyph and that big spread when they see that. I mean, that's my favorite as of the implications. To use an "It's Always Sunny" way to think about that, but it's. I think it's a really cool spread. I would say action-wise, though, Roger's on point. That was probably the coolest of the year.
I remember being especially excited by the sort of reveal of the Germa 66 headquarters and seeing all the, shocker / Nazi imagery, and kind of like all of us sort of digesting that and discussing it and stuff is interesting.
Okay, anyone else?
No, but I agree with all of those. That's a good one, Joey. Yeah. The Lego bricks. Go ahead.
Gongasm. Any plans for the One Piece anniversary next year, individually even? Personally, thinking about making my first Japan trip.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah,
have fun.
We really wanted to do that, but I don't think it's
How about a
Kickstarter?
Possible.
I'm not. I think it's a little too soon, and
Zach's getting married.
So that's. I'm not gonna have enough days off. Is really it's really the end of that.
I should finish my read through.
Oh my god! You have to read.
Zach,
you could start over.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to start from the beginning, Steve.
I'm too far gone.
You have to start from the beginning.
Zach, I don't understand. What if I do? What do I get if I go back and start from the beginning?
You want me to give you
the joy of reading One Piece?
No, that's not enough. I already get the joy. Because
it's a 20th anniversary, and it's the right thing to do.
I don't understand how Zach was like reading like 5 volumes like a day or whatever you did. That was nuts. It's just I've just fallen. That's an understatement. I've fallen behind, but now I'm curious. Should I just go back and start from the beginning? What a twisted tale that would be. I also kind of want to rewatch through the anime again. It's been in a long time.
I think Sam was talking about doing just a new world read through. I think that might be.
He's already doing that. Yeah,
I didn't even really get to read through Water 7 yet, and that was like the de la creme of this. And
I'm not ready to read through Dressrosa again.
Yeah, neither am I.
I think I need another year or two, and then I think I could give it a really fair shot, and then come out with a fair opinion about that arc.
Because here's how magical reading Water 7 was. The last time I read it, I was sitting waiting to be picked for jury duty. I
remember that.
Yeah,
cool story.
Wow. Good memory.
That's Steve. You tell that story a lot.
This is kind of like going off on a tangent, but like I feel like by the end of Wano, which might be another 2 years or something, year or two, I bet we'll be kind of wanting to reflect on what had happened since the time skip.
Yeah.
And maybe a new world read through at that point might be.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely going to, and this is not happening anytime soon, continue the One Piece read through. We may do some like retakes of a few of those arcs that were still a little fresh in our heads. But I'm really talking about way down the line here. This is not.
I remember.
I need like 5 years to go back to Fishman Island and Dressrosa. Like those two in particular, I can't reread anytime.
Fishman Island, the reread that we did for the read through was probably the most interesting discussion we've had. It was like a 4.5 hour episode.
Yeah, but see, I did the read through with you guys, and I did not read through Fishman Island. I stopped at New World, and I didn't read any of those, and I just listened to the show. And I liked your Fishman Island episode, but I refused to reread that yet.
I understand.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach. Not to put you on blast, but didn't you want to like kind of review Dressrosa like after like it ended? And we were like, no, we need more time to let it.
We did.
Pass.
They did do a episode, but like it was kind of disjointed because a lot of it was still in Shonen Jump issues, and not a lot of people. I wasn't able to do it. Like
maybe I'm sorry. Maybe I'm mistaking it for Zoe then.
No, Zoe. I was thinking of doing it once the arc was over. Okay. But I think It was a thought process, but it's not.
The arc's almost over in the anime, so that might be cool. And that's like I love that arc. So if you guys do that, hit me up.
I think at this point I'd like since this all kind of goes in one burst, especially from after Zoe to Whole Cake Island and Wano. I think I want to wait until the end of Wano at least to go back to Zoe. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but probably unless I get very bored and want to do a Zoe read through, which it is a great arc. I do love that arc, but.
The only thing I could say, maybe make some more One Piece art. I would love to go to Japan. I really would.
Yeah, I just want to see Steve in Japan. I think I would just do a documentary, OPP Japan Steve. Just all it is us following Steve with the camera, and he does Steve things, and that's it.
Tall fat man in Japan.
Not as fat as he used to be.
No.
What a compliment from Ed. What's the next question?
He's not wrong.
We have a lot of 20th anniversary stuff coming down the pipe for the website and stuff, so keep an eye on that. Personally, I don't know quite yet. Ed.
All right. Our very own Brian Newton says, doesn't Anglaise remind you of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes?
And the worm is Hobbes?
Yeah. And he links a picture as well. So.
Yeah, Anglaise and Hobbes. No, I like it. Yeah.
Also, Pedro is Zorro.
Yeah, I saw how. I mean, Pedro's more Zorro than Zorro.
They're both portrayed by Antonio Banderas.
That's true. That is a good point.
Next question comes from Rahul Girl. When will we see Shanks again?
The big climactic battle at the end, sorry. Well, originally the Kid Alliance wanted to go after Shanks. Did correct me if I'm wrong. Did Blackbeard have any beef with Shanks, like to go after him? I know they already have some history, but am I just mistaking that for the Kid Alliance?
I'm not sure. I think it was Kid. Yeah,
because I honestly think the Blackbeard pirates and the red-haired pirates are gonna have a battle before the Blackbeard pirates fight the Straw Hats, which I know we've discussed it many times that One Piece kind of evolved that shonen trope of like pairing up heroes and villains in these fights and chapters dedicated to those fights. But bring it back for the Blackbeard Pirates, please. Please. It'd be great. It'd be awesome.
And I'm realizing now the reason we have so much Piece to Tweet this week is because Roger blew up our hashtag. Sorting than usual here. Let's see here. Next question comes from Storysmith, who says, do you think Lord Potato Starch could have a similar role as Pika in this arc? He could change the landscape of the island.
Please no.
Yeah, I don't want that. No. No.
What if he has a really, really deep voice?
You guys, I can't even look at real bird cages anymore without getting PTSD.
You need a trigger warning for bird cages.
Yeah, somebody should have told me that when I went to go see Arrival. Fuck.
Well, someone remind me not to get a pet bird anytime soon.
If you do, you're keeping it outside of a cage, sir.
That's going to be a free bird.
I know why the caged bird sings. It's because the bird cage is the worst part of One Piece.
Oh, boy. Next question. Travis asks, could Big Mom have been one of the original gigantification test subjects? Caesar makes a cure, solves Big Mom's dream. By shrinking her down, I guess?
That's exactly the opposite of what she said, though. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Also, Big Mom's older than Caesar. I just guessed, but could be.
Wow. Way to judge a woman's age there without a...
Flat Cap Sean, this is an interesting question. Any article of clothing from the series that you would like to own or be sold online?
Yeah, I mean, the Frog No Hippo, but I guess that's kind of online.
Oh, no, just from this arc.
Flat Cap Sean says he wants the long coat Luffy had on at the end of Punk Hazard.
No, he said series. It's series.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I said arc. I do have the Fisher Tiger Frog No Hippo shirt, which I adore. Oof. I don't have any suits, so I would love to have a lot of like Sanji's attire. I wouldn't look as elegant though. Anytime I wear a suit, I just look like a bouncer or a politician.
I think that's pretty cool. Well, not the latter, but the former.
No, it's not, because then I can't look casual. I always look like, you see me in a suit.
You're wearing a suit. Who looks casual in a suit? Do you wear a suit so you don't look casual?
A casual suit.
That's not what? That's a sport jacket.
What? Okay, Steve. As someone who wears suits on the reg, you don't wear a suit if you want to dress casual, buddy.
Well, I don't know. It's just
Sanji does it because he's not a casual kind of guy. You've seen him wear t-shirts.
Yeah, but Sanji doesn't look like he's going to like a funeral or something.
Because he's not wearing a white shirt with a black tie.
Yeah, you get a blue shirt or like a blue suit or a brown suit or like something less black, I guess is your issue.
I really can't wait for my makeover episode. This
would be a really good. This would be a
Craig Sager suit.
This would be a really good time to remind the audience that we're not sponsored by Trunk Club, but it would be a really good opportunity to plug them.
Or Men's Warehouse, because we're gonna love the way we look.
They don't do that one anymore.
I kind of like Bartolomeo's jacket, the purple maroonish looking jacket thing. Like, I feel like if they brought that into the real world and some fashion designer decided to like create that, I would actually wear that. I think that looks cool.
Ooh, I love Sanji's khaki leather military bomber thing. His jacket in the Zoo. That is a cool jacket. I love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's next, Ed?
Damn.
Okay.
No, I didn't mean to hijack before, because there are plenty of really cool out of this world outfits.
I wasn't quick enough on that one. I wasn't quick enough.
Ed, go. Yeah, you gotta just talk right over Steve.
Usopp5314 asks, what is your opinion on the theory that pudding is the body where Big Mom put the good and kind part of her soul in? Like, she put the good part of her soul into pudding.
That's weird.
Well, she is like a little doll, right?
I don't think Big Mom is evil incarnate.
The way Big Mom talks about pudding is creepy, though. Like, it's creepy.
Big Mom just has a rival philosophy to Luffy. I don't think she's pure evil. She just is a little more selfish and uses people more, but she's not, completely bad. I think there's enough gray area in what we've seen so far. She's a pirate. I mean, come on. What's next?
Neo Pepsi Man asks, do you think Buggy has conceptually an extremely strong devil fruit? Love to hear your thoughts.
You mean like if someone better
if someone better and more creative than Buggy was using it?
Sure.
I think it could be like you could split down to the atomic level or something. Although that would kind of be like be a little bit like Crocodile's devil fruit at that point.
Oh God!
Like, what is it? Mike TV and Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Where atoms just pass through the air, invisible.
I feel like that already is kind of an OP power, just because you cannot be sliced, unless hockey. Although I don't know, because
what he dodged the hockey beforehand.
Yeah. Right? Well, Mihawk was shooting to kill basically, and he sliced Buggy in half, and that didn't really do much to Buggy. So does hockey only work against Logia users?
Well, I would say if this is really dumb. Okay, if you punched or sliced Buggy and caught him before he splits with hockey, you would hit him. But if he splits beforehand, you'd pass through that empty space.
But like really good devil fruit users, it becomes like a natural thing where like Buggy wouldn't have to if someone better than Buggy wouldn't have to like think about it. They would just like automatically split.
I'd like to think that Buggy's mastered his power. He's just kind of incompetent in other areas.
Yeah, if Nami tried to tie up his parts like she did in that original arc now, would he split further like around the rope or something? Like how far can he take that?
I think at that point you have to already be split. Like I think that the parts that are already split are parts that have been cut already. That's what I think.
Oh. No. Because you can just split and fly.
I think we're hitting the end of this conversation.
I'm glad I asked that question.
What's next?
The Kaizoku Ruffy asks, has there ever been an arc or an island with as much buildup as Wano? The only thing he can think of is
Fishman Island.
Yeah, Fishman Island definitely.
That's the correct answer.
And that. So when was the first time we heard about it? Arlong Park? Is that possible?
Arlong Park.
And then again after Water 7, like it was.
I was gonna make the argument for Elbaf. I feel like we've been teased Elbaf even longer than Wano.
Longer, but not as much.
Not as much. Yeah, I think Fishman Island was the most though in general. Although you could say Wano was since before the series began in Wanted.
Monster,
in Monster. I'm sorry. Yeah. What was the short? That's the short, right? It was in. Never mind.
Yeah, but that's kind of debatable about how.
Well, I mean,
the degree to canon that is, or whatever.
It's not really canon. It's.
I would say Wano has at least been built up as much as Fishman Island was.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. I think it's on that level.
Friend of the show, Dr. Valkyrie asks, why hasn't Big Mom had one of her kids marry Caesar? Making him part of her crew when he's useful seems better than paying him money.
Because he poisons children with candy. It's like the complete opposite of Big Mom.
Yeah, I think she'd be too paranoid about the candy being poisoned.
Also, he's a creep.
Yeah, he sucks.
She's all for political marriages, but that is too far.
No, she doesn't need to have anyone marry him. She pretty much controls him as it is. Why even waste one of her kids on him?
Yeah. He's a freak. Creep.
Okay.
Geek.
Steve does not like Caesar, apparently.
No, I just like...
If Sam's listening, he's weeping right now.
Sam's like, oh, you gotta be such a bully.
All right. Linus99 asks, do you agree if I tell you that we will see Moria helping Luffy beat Kaido while using Nightmare Luffy again, but in Gear 4?
No, I don't agree.
Too much of a retread.
Yeah. Moria is a lazy piece of crap. I see Moria kind of just being like they're all gonna laugh at you role if he were ever to interact with Luffy again in terms of talking about Kaido. Moria's lazy. That's his gimmick. I don't see him, kind of, no, I want to help you. I'm sure he's just gained more weight and just has like Cheeto breath.
He wears a fedora and says "Milady."
He opens his mouth and people are like, "What died in here?"
No, you guys are thinking of Vanderdecken.
He is the fedora.
Oh man, the two of them together.
Birdcage, Vanderdecken. I've been triggered far too many times.
Yeah, just throw in Queen and you got my own personal hell.
Oh no!
Someone draw that. Go ahead.
Patrick Rosola says, in honor of the Simpsons 600 marathon, which Simpsons characters are likely to be friends with each of the Straw Hats?
Let's not go through all of them.
Ralph.
Just the Straw Hats. I mean, like,
Ralph and Chopper.
Yeah.
I feel like
Mo
Luffy and
and Zoro,
Homer
I
would
feel.
not. Luffy and Homer would not get along.
No, absolutely.
Everything's
not.
coming up, Usopp.
Yes,
Usopp and
yes,
Milhouse.
definitely, definitely.
Nami
I
and
like
Lisa.
Mo and Zoro. I like because Mo could just give him lots of alcohol.
Yeah, but he'd charge him.
Yeah.
Not true. Yeah.
Actually, Mo and Nami. No,
Oh, yeah, they
Stop
wouldn't be
myself.
friends though. Yeah.
stop myself there.
Frankie and Duffman.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's an easy one right there.
Brooke and Mole Man.
Which one's older? We'll never know. Well, one's 38, right? Isn't Mo Man?
I actually just really want to see Chopper and Dr. Nick have a conversation. Because Chopper would get really mad really quick.
Hero Luke and Dr. Nick, I feel like are closer.
No,
Dr.
well, it's Chopper. Chopper's the foil. So
Right.
Yeah.
um,
Robin and Lisa.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
think
simple.
that too.
They're both nerds.
No, yeah, either that or Marge and Robin would be an iconic pair.
No.
Because we're finding out more and more that Robin's a cornball. She likes like ugly, cute drawings, and I think her and Marge would have a great dynamic. I could totally see them bonding over Vincent Price's egg painting kit.
What's the next question?
Garp and Grandpa.
Well, I know, yeah. Clearly.
The funky grandpa. Okay, next one. Oh man. Next one coming from Adil, our very own Adil. Crackpot Theory. Do you think Lola was supposed to marry Lucky Roo, judging from its importance for Big Mom and that cover page?
Oh man.
Oh,
I love
my
that.
God. Oh my God.
Can you remind me who Lucky Roo is?
The
The fat guy from the Shakes Crew. The guy in the head in chapter 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the guy who got married at the last deck of the world.
Oh my
presumably.
God.
Oh man.
Oh my God. No, that. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh
Well,
man.
didn't Big Mom's? Oh, I guess
She
well, no,
said she
but
would
Lucky
beat
Roo-
Shanks if Lola
Yeah.
No,
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think that makes any sense.
Either way, Steve, that was super good. That was a really good impression of the guy from Miami Connection who finds out that his father's still alive.
Oh God. Oh man. No, I really like this. I think
I do too.
Yeah,
This
that's
would
a
be
cool,
great.
cool one.
They'd make a lovely couple.
Are you saying
Maybe
that?
Lucky Roo is who Lola eventually meets and marries.
Oh, like
Yeah, I
feel
willingly
like-
marries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
That's
that.
cool. I like that too.
You know, what'd be super funny is if Lola's supposed to marry Lucky Roo to begin with, and then she's like, "Well, screw this, I'm going to go off and marry somebody else," and then they meet again, and then they just get married.
Yeah.
like, well, now that I got to know you, it's great, but we don't have to listen to my mom. So-
Yeah,
So
I mean, I feel like I
win-win.
don't see Shanks agreeing, or I don't know. Seems weird for Shanks and his crew to be into allying with Big Mom like that. but
Shanks is gonna be jealous that she's taking his bro's attention away.
What's next, Ed?
Okay, next one. A 91 Ryan asks, would you play a One Piece game based on the Dragon Ball Xenoverse series? Has anyone played this game?
I know of it.
isn't it like a Warcraft type?
No.
It's a single
Well,
player.
Yeah,
It
I've
does
only
have
played.
elements.
I'm sorry.
I thought it was one of those multiplayer role-playing games or whatever.
That's Dragon Ball Heroes.
Yeah, or you might be thinking of the old RPG that was like in Korea or something.
Right.
No. I was thinking of the new one. I thought that
Yeah.
you could like walk around and talk to people in
Well,
their.
you can, but
Yeah,
you talk to like NPCs, and I think I think the biggest thing about it is it's a character creation thing where you
Right.
go through the you basically go through famous moments in Dragon Ball history to stop some guy who's messing with time. I've really messed with time to.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah,
it's it's a lot like the Budokai Tenkaichi games in terms of the fighting. At least that feels. It's a fighting game. You create a character. Yeah, pretty much the open world thing is just kind of let me go to the shop and buy new outfits, or let me go to these online missions. Let me go to these offline missions.
I mean, I've said time and time again. I think the kind of One Piece world that would work is just a completely open, unlimited kind of game where you discover islands and you have your own
like an unlimited adventure.
Like a real unlimited adventure. Anyway, Ed, what's next?
Unlimited collection.
But there hasn't been like a One Piece video game where you get to customize a character based on Oda's like, traits, right?
Although they have that thing that just came out on the One Piece official website where you could like make a version of yourself.
But
I think if you played the new Xenoblade, there's a boob slider in that. So I mean, that's pretty close to I think what an Oda character would.
Roger's right.
But years and years ago, WoW was a really big thing, and I think I even said like, hey, like the One Piece, like the One Piece world, it doesn't necessarily like I think the series in itself doesn't make so much of a great fighting game as it does like an open world game. There's so much creativity, and I think kind of with Xenoverse, and even though Xenoverse I feel is a little bit limited, at least in the first game, like it'd be really cool to make your own character and explore. I personally think I would love to see something a little more closer to Wind Waker. With the sailing and all that, I personally love the sailing in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of like cuts against the idea of an open world is like how restrictive the Grand Line is to travel on.
Also, as far as
No Man's Grand Line,
the character creation stuff goes, is that like I feel like Oda he has certain like types of character models that he does, but he does a really good job for the incredible number of characters that he has. He does a really good job of like making them all differentiated. Whereas I feel like with Dragon Ball, like Toriyama has like certain design motifs that he uses a lot. But it's very easy to like create your own Dragon Ball style character. I feel like it would actually be really hard to do a convincing like One Piece character creator. I feel like it would just look really cheesy.
It would look like an anime filler character.
Toriyama has a lot of sort of like generic hair types that you could switch in and out and be like, that looks like a Toriyama hairstyle. Where if you put like a sort of like I don't know Usopp type face on somebody, it would look like Usopp.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's left on Twitter, Ed?
It's the last question.
Oh, okay.
And specifically for Zach.
Uh-oh.
Zachary, did you cry when you saw this week's anime episode?
I did not because I have not seen it yet.
You gotta watch it. It was great.
I will. It's on the to-do list. So why don't we round off, Ed?
Sure. That's the end of it.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 447 for the week of December 5th, 2016. Thank you all for being on the show today. And unfortunately, we do have some more somber news to report this week. And Steve, do you want to let people know what that is?
Yeah, sure, Zach. Unfortunately, Cole Brown, known as the voice of Blackbeard and Jaguar D. Saul in the English dub of One Piece, he passed away last month, November 18th, and a lot of us only found out last week, and it's a bummer because I think anytime we ever talked about the English dub, like who our favorite voices were in it, like Cole was up there as Blackbeard. He was always like one of my first choices. He was awesome in the role. Like he was like, it was one of those voices where it's like, wow, he sounds like a pirate. And he voiced him since the dub's infancy when they started in Jaya. He was, he was part of that first run, and he was fantastic then, and he was fantastic all the way through Impel Down and Marineford. And it's very unfortunate to lose him.
He did an unbelievable job. There. He did an unbelievable job as Saul as well. I didn't even realize he played Saul.
It's kind of sad and strange too that the Japanese actor Akio Otsuka is still alive, but he was the one whose father, who played Gold Roger, passed away last year. So Yeah, I mean, it's old actors. Sadly, it's this kind of thing that happens every once in a while.
Especially in One Piece, where you have every single human being on both sides of the ocean, voicing someone.
This reminds me of when who was the voice of
Daisuke Gori?
Daisuke Gori. Yeah, it reminds me of when Daisuke Gori died.
And that was devastating because I grew up with Dragon Ball, and I was Gori was one of the few guys I could point out. And when it was announced that he was playing such a pivotal role in the series, and to lose him was so unfortunate. And this is no exception. It sucks. It really does. And from what little I've heard from people that have worked with him, he was jam up good guy. I heard one description as practically the ghost of Christmas Past-esque. Like, that was the kind of person Cole was. So it's unfortunate we never crossed paths with him, and let him know that we appreciate his work.
So why don't we go from there to say where people could find us? Let's start with Steve, since you're talking. Where could people find you?
You could find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Steve Yurko, all one word. This month, I'm kind of in the spirit of like an Inktober-esque. I'm doing a Pokedex, which is I'm drawing a Pokemon every day, favorite type, and so on. So if you're a big fan of Pokemon, I'm sure a bunch of you are. You could tune into that. The pilot I worked on for Adult Swim called Hot Streets, which has been online since the summer, but it just aired on Adult Swim proper last night, and I think it's on its own still online. Please check it out if you haven't. It's a hilarious pilot, and I was proud of the work I did on that, and that's it.
Cool. Roger, where could people find you?
Sure. People could find me at Rogers Base on YouTube, on Twitter. I've been streaming on Twitch a little bit, and I might be streaming the finale of Final Fantasy 15 relatively soon, so look forward to that. And you can find me on my Instagram as well, which is also Rogers Base. But primarily, if you want to get in touch with me, Twitter is the best way to go. And of course, if you like One Piece, I do reviews of the anime and manga of One Piece, as well as theory videos on the level of that shape-shifting chiffon theory that was brought up earlier. So check those out. They're a lot of fun.
He's taking it, Alex.
Good. Make sure to credit the crap out of me, will you?
Alex, where can people find you?
Yeah. Well, as always, you can find me on various social media forums, including Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. I'm doing a cool thing as well this month. I did this last year during December. I called it Droid-cember. I was going to do a different Star Wars illustration leading up to the release of The Force Awakens, but it ended up being really popular, so I ended up doing the entire month of December, and since Rogue One comes out this month, I'm doing Droid-cember again. A little behind, so I'm catching up this evening, but check out Droid-cember, #Droid-cember on Instagram. It's probably going to be just my stuff. And if you're going to be in DC this week, Super Art Fight is on Friday at the Black Cat. It's going to be our non-denominational holiday spectacular, and it's.
I wish I could be there.
I know, baby, I know.
And Joey, where could people find you?
They can follow me on Twitter at Joey Weiser or joeyweiser.tumblr.com. My Twitter is kind of a mix of professional and personal, where I talk a lot about One Piece and stuff, so it might be fun to follow me on there. My Tumblr, I keep a little more professional. You'll see announcements about my new books and things like that. I draw a graphic novel series called Merman. That books 1 through 4 are out now, and volume 5 will be coming out next year in hardcover and digital. The soft covers are just coming out, and volume 2 will be out in softcover December 14th. So take a look out for that. It would make an excellent gift. And I'd also like you to listen to Toho Yaro, a podcast that Alex and I do with our friend Scott. That's a Japanese movie podcast. You can also follow the Twitter account at Toho Yaro. This month we'll be talking about Tom Popo, which is a food comedy centered around ramen, and it's really excellent.
Yes.
And,
it is excellent.
Mm-hmm. I need to see that.
Yeah, it's great. Screenings of it are kind of popping up and around the country a little bit. Criterion's company has remastered it and has been doing theatrical screenings. So, and we've done past episodes about like Godzilla and Sonatine and a few other things. So yeah, take a listen.
Steven, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus.
And Ed, where could the good people out there contact us?
Well, Zach, they can find us at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. Support us on Patreon, Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. We're going to have a Patreon-exclusive podcast coming out this month. Check it out. And we can we'll read your name on the air at least once a month. That's
going to be next week.
Next week. All right, cool. And you can send us some piece together, reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. You can subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
And that phone number is 347-497-MAGI.
Machi!
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime!
With your questions, your comments, and your theories. Really great to have you guys all on the show. This was a really fun episode. Next week, I will be out celebrating whatever holidays there are for work. But I'm going to have my 3 fantastic and very able co-hosts here, Ed, Alex, and Steve. They're going to be hosting the episode next week. And then the week after is our season finale. As anyone who listens to this podcast for a long period of time knows, those are always big, long, and fun episodes. So you definitely want to listen to that. And
you gotta get Greg on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying my hardest. He has been extremely elusive. And busy is more importantly. And then we will be doing our Jump Festa review episode to start the year. Greg will not be going, but we have plenty of people who will be on the ground at Jump Festa, so we could get some cool reports in from that. And we're going to also have a couple weeks off in between, but I have some very cool stuff planned for that. So make sure to stick around, subscribe, listen. So for the One Piece Podcast, everyone, we'll see you next week. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
Goodbye.
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 Bye.
You got mail.
Goodbye.